howdy, howdy, and welcome. It is me, your ever so, uh, here, host, Ben. It is good to see you, and anyone else who appears. Today's gonna be an interesting one. Just make sure I got all this set. Oh fuck, that's what. Da, 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 da. Oh, okay. There we go. Cut it back real quick. There we are. How are people doing? Today feels like it's gonna be a long day. Before it started, I spilled water over my wires. Everything seems to be working okay. There was no fire, no anything like that, so we are safe for the moment. But we shall see, I suppose. So yes. Hello, professors. Oh fuck. Sorry, brain went burr then. Hello, friends. I read the word professor and it threw me off. There you go, Kuri. You were able to make it. I threw it back and I threw it back. I pushed it back an hour, just so you could be here. And plus, we have people coming over, and they've come over a little late, so I'll have to say hello later. That's on them, frankly. Papow. But hello, welcome. Yeah, so I think I've got Professor Kuru. It's your Kuru Sensei. Come on. Oh, I forgot that was my thing. Thank you for the follow there, friend. Oh fuck! Sorry, I pressed. Oh no! Give me a sec. Didn't mean to press that. Oh, hello, Jester. Thank you for the follow. I accidentally closed down the thing I needed to look at. But that is all backing up now. Luckily it was only on my phone, so it's not a big no-no. So, let me make sure these are locked so I don't accidentally move things around. Because I realized I almost did then. Oh, goodness. So, if the title wasn't clear enough, and for people who may be here not from the Twitter or Discord or whatever, today's talk is about the epilepsy. Now, why? Why would anyone talk about epilepsy? That's a good question, Mega Man. So it's a what's the word I'm looking for? I'm just gonna make it up as I go. It's a thing that's very close to my heart. Being, now this may be crazy, but I'm epileptic myself, and that's part of the reason I'm talking about it. I know. I'm like 1,000 brain, you know. But it is also November, ready to be learned. Good. Okay, good. It's also November. November is Epilepsy Awareness Month. And I wanted to do something earlier in the month, but things kept coming up, and then it wasn't ready. And now I think it's just about ready. It's like there's still things that I'm like, oh, maybe I should change that. But I set myself, I have to do it by now. So, it's here. If it fails, nice. But thank you for those who come, and for those who do come later. Let us see. Where shall we begin? Bloop. Let's begin at the beginning. Oh, I should probably say as well, content warning. There's going to be some rough stuff shown. All of it, you know, is TOS, so there's no like beheading of epileptics or anything. But I'll be showing what it looks like when people have different seizures. And then there'll be rough stuff for people like myself, where it's like someone, like there's a video of someone talking about things that it's affected them in their life, and holy shit, that one hits. This will be archived after as well, but where was I? Yeah, so slight content warning. I'm not holding it back. Despite the sound of the nice music, but I needed nice music to keep myself sane. So let us see. Make sure I got these in the right order. I do. Now I'm just picking at myself. So let's start with a simple question. For those who were here before, this is more of a relearning period at the start here. But for those who are not sure, what is epilepsy? That's a good question. As it says, it's a condition that affects the brain. And when someone's epileptic, it means they have a tendency to have epileptic seizures. There are different types of seizures. This one specifically for epileptics, hence the epilepsy. And this could be, like, as it says, you can have one-off seizures from many things. It could be allergic reaction, heart problems. There's many different reasons, and usually it's, you know, as it says, it's only if you have more seizures. For me, it was we went to go see. It was suggested by a teacher when I was in primary school. They said to my parents, it possibly is this, because he's seemingly daydreaming an awful lot, and maybe it's more than that. So they took the advice and they went and saw, and yep, I was having like multiple at a time, so that was fun. Though I was a very hyper kid, so they had to do the tests while I was asleep. And then it turned out I was also having them in my sleep. So that's also why I was so tired before. Now there's many reasons, age being one of them. But that's the way that they usually go around it. If it's just a one-off, like if you realize, oh, I can't control my legs shaking, maybe go see someone about that. But unless you've got something that's happening constantly and is affecting you an awful lot, don't jump to conclusions. You know, self-diagnosing is the worst thing you can do. So let's try not to do that today. If at any point there are things that you feel like you tick a lot of the lists, maybe it is worth, if you know, if you're in a free healthcare place, it's worth just going and see. If you're not where there's free healthcare, obviously you have to think about money as well. So weigh it up for yourself. But you know, it tends to be fairly easy to tell if you're having them for other people. Not always so much for yourself, unless you're having certain types of seizures, which we'll be getting into. But what are the seizures? You can also read this as I'm going over, but to put it in much simpler terms, the waves that go around your brain, the electrical activity, it has certain systems, and it bounces around and sends that to the rest of your body. So your brain will send one shock to help you walk. It will send more to talk. That it has many, and for epilepsy, it creates, even it's just a temporary, it creates a disruption in how the brain works, and it hits those systems, and the result, it says, is a seizure. Do you want to know why self-diagnosing is bad? Sure, go ahead. Do I want to explain? My bad. I mean, it's with anything, self-diagnosing yourself and getting overly fixated on, obviously when you look online as well, they're going to tell you the worst possible. Like you'll look, say I've got an itch on my leg and it's coming to a rash, and they'll tell you you've got stage 4 cancer, because the internet is a wonderful place. That's worth, if you're having symptoms of something, looking up and seeing the options. The way I do it is I usually assume it's going to be the lowest bar. So if I'm sneezing, it's probably a cold. If I got a sore throat that's lasted a bit, maybe it's just advanced cold. I can still go see someone, just get something for my throat. But the main problem with self-diagnosing that then a lot of people do is then they for one, they might be a kind of person who then will constantly go to the doctors until the doctor tells them, yes, this is what you have. And as harsh as it is to say, waste time and take away time from people who really, really need it. And then for some people as well, they'll say, okay, well, what do you usually take for different kinds of pains? And then so they'll go get themselves whatever drugs are available, and end up making it 10 times worse. There's a whole load of problems that come with self-diagnosing. A lot of them mental as well. You put yourself, a lot of people, when they start thinking that way, then it brings the anxiety in. And anxiety breeds out and brings in more, which is always good fun. So if I'm just going to give any advice, if you're looking up symptoms for yourself, look at what the highest chance thing is that's like the lowest denominator. So it could just be a cold or something. And yeah, there's many treatments that you can do just by staying home, drinking fluids. Soup is good. Chicken noodle soup is a great healer for things. But if a problem keeps going, just see a professional. They're there for a reason. They've studied for years, and they want to help. And if they tell you they don't want to help, get a different doctor, because they should not be in the business. So it makes sense. They're there to help you. Reach out. And if you really feel like they've not done a good enough job, because in the last place I lived, the doctor's surgery there was abysmal. They missed a lot of things, and for me and my family, and now there's other problems. But once we moved here, the doctors here have been fantastic. And there have been things that they've caught that we didn't even know about. And it saved us an awful lot of trouble. Now, luckily, for myself, being in the UK, it's free healthcare, so I don't have to take into consideration spending thousands just to go see a doctor. So I really sympathize with those who don't have free healthcare, and I hope that things are well enough in your life that you're either able to go see someone or you don't have to. So I hope for the best for anyone in that situation, and for anyone who's at the free healthcare. It's pretty fucking nice that if you're telling yourself, oh, I shouldn't bother anyone, that's what I do a lot. Scratch that. You gotta look after yourself above everything else. Because if you're in pain, and you don't sort it, it's just gonna keep growing, and it's gonna weigh on you mentally and then physically as well. So it's best to just, as I said, see a professional. Let's carry on. There are many types of seizures within epilepsy. I think there was something like 20 odd different, like they're in subsections, but something like 20 different seizures that you can have. Some are just small variations, and then there's some large variations. But how common? Now this is from the UK site, so it varies place to place. But in the UK alone, it's 1 in every 100 person will possibly find out that they have epilepsy. So it's and 87 people they are diagnosed with it every day in the UK. So it's not as if it's a disease that is dying out. It's still very much there. If you catch it early enough, you'll have a much better time. But for some, there might be so small things that happen that you don't realize. And maybe other people just think you're a daydreamer, lazy. There are many things that people will think before they think epilepsy. Coming from experience. So it's a fairly common condition. That's the word I was looking for. But what sort of things can cause epilepsy? Of course, any damage to the brain is a doozy. Having damage to the brain after, at any point in your life can cause many problems, epilepsy being one of that many. There's also genetics. For me, we don't know for sure if it was genetic, because there was a head injury when I was very, very young, but they couldn't say for sure. So for the moment, we just said, okay, let's just assume genetics. So I've had, like, oh God, how old was I? I wrote it down. Okay, so I was 8 when I was diagnosed with epilepsy. So it's usually when it's that early, it is something genetic, or the way it's developed in the womb. Hopefully, yeah. That. And here's the thing I should point out as well: it doesn't just appear in people who are young, or people who are like 80 or whatever, where they're more susceptible. It can be any age. So don't be scared of it. Be weird, but be aware of it, right? Oh, that's a nice tag. Pat self on back. But as it says here, over half of people with epilepsy, doctors don't find a cause. It is, for some people, it is so minimal that the like maybe the seizures they have, it could like just be, they space out for just a few seconds every now and again. And that's really difficult to tell if that's, you know, epilepsy, daydreaming, if it's another illness altogether. It can be shown as that, since it's something in the brain that affects the brain, and there's a whole wide range of illnesses that affect the brain. But how's it diagnosed? Oh, sorry, hiccups. So you can have blood tests, a EEG, which is what I had, and a brain scan. Now, EEGs can be done when you're awake. Well, all these, obviously, they can be done when you're awake. For me, as I said, I was a very hyper child, so it didn't really work out trying to do that and telling me to sit still while they put things on my head and play music. So what I had to do, or what me and my parents had to do, they had to keep me awake throughout the night, and then early morning, I think it was 3 to 4 a.m. Or 4 to 3, I should say. Anywhere between there, we had to go to where they were doing the tests, and then I was able to sleep, and they did it in my sleep. And as said, for some people, they have the seizures in their sleep, which is a very hard time to tell if anything's happening. Especially if, you know, you sleep in a different room to people. If you sleep right next to someone and you're having some type of seizure, maybe they'll pick up on something depending on the seizure. But this was super handy way. It was a easy way to rule out there was just movement in my sleep and that I was for sure epileptic. And how is it treated? So you can have the epilepsy medicine, anti-epileptics, or drugs, or AEDs. It doesn't cure epilepsy. I'm on anti-epileptic drugs. I have been since I was 8. The first set worked really well, but they made me so tired that I was hardly able to do a thing in school, so we had to switch. And the switch is not as easy as just grabbing a new set of drugs, taking those instead. You have to go down stages of dose on the one and then build up again on the other, so your body doesn't freak out. And I am currently on the highest dose. That's the word I was looking for. The highest dosage. And I will be for life. That's just how it is. So to me, if someone says, "Oh, I'm sorry you're going through this," I just tell them, don't be sorry. Epilepsy at this point is as much me as blinking, walking, anything. It is just a part of me. So rather than look at it as this evil thing that I must challenge at every step, I work alongside it. You know, I see what I can do, what I can't do. Say, okay, but what can't? Let's focus more on what I can do. For instance, I can stream. I am luckily not affected by lights. So I've got I consider myself extremely lucky. But many find, and as it said, many find that their seizures stop on the first or second. Mine was the second. I should say, I haven't had, as far as I know, because as I said, in sleep you can have them, so I can't really tell there. But as far as I know, I have not had a seizure since I was 16, so it's been 11 years. It's pretty good. It's pretty damn good. But as we go through, there are other problems it brings up. For some, they had to take a few different medicines to find what works, because sometimes, like I said, for me, I could hardly stay awake, and so it's that for some people, but there's also other side effects, so it's just finding the right one, and some people need to take sometimes extra together. Hopefully, in best case scenario, if you have to take the drugs, it's the first one and you're set. And if the medicine doesn't work, there are other treatments. I say I knew, is more my mum knew and I knew of, right? There was a lad who had the fall to the floor and shake, also known as the grand mal seizure. And my mom was telling me at one point that he had brain surgery to see if it would sort it, and he got super lucky because it's helped an awful lot apparently. So I'm very happy to hear that one. It gives a lot of hope outside, And how can you help someone having a seizure? Let's open this one. We'll get into videos in a moment. Actually, we'll do this one in a sec. Let's do a couple of the videos to show some of the stuff before it goes all in. So, since they are on topic and we can sort of mix in between, right? So, right, let's just mute that tab. And a lot of these videos are coming from the are coming from the channel that's from the same website I was using there, Epilepsy Action. A fantastic channel. If you ever want to learn more past today or anytime, I'd really recommend them. They do fantastic work, but there's also thousands and thousands of videos. Some that were a bit too much for me to watch, and so I haven't put them on for my own sake. But let us get into their first one. What is epilepsy? They can probably do a better job explaining it than I. So let's see.
Our brains
Please let me know if I need to turn it up.
Brain cells, which communicate by swapping chemicals with each other. When the brain cells do this, they generate electricity. A seizure is a sudden burst of that electrical activity, which can cause a person to experience new sensations or movements. Simply put, epilepsy is a condition that causes people to have seizures, which affects around 1 in every 100 people. One of the most common types of seizure is called a tonic-clonic seizure, where the person falls to the floor and their whole body jerks. This is the type you usually see in films or TV shows. This isn't the only type of seizure though. Another common type is called a focal seizure, where only one part of the brain is affected. This can cause lots of different things to happen, depending on which part of the brain is affected. For example, someone might feel strange sensations, or start repeating a movement, like tugging at their clothes.
I'll pause as we go through, and no problem, Guru. Get yourself some lunch. So these are the ones I have. I have I both. It's not tug at the clothes for me. For me, it was rapid closing of the hand and smacking in the lips. So like, but not quite. That's to put it in a more comedic way, I suppose. And and would just stare off into space and then would come back eventually. And mine is on the right side. Yeah, I have to remind myself that. Yeah, mine affects the right side of my brain. Oh, excuse me. But these are the type I have. I don't have the fall to the floor shake. I've got very fortunate.
There are also absence seizures, where a person might seem distant for a moment. Absence seizures commonly start in school-aged children, and they happen so quickly they can be hard to spot. Myoclonic seizures.
And mine started as just absence seizures, and then developed absence and tonic. I think unfortunately the longest, my mom did give me the information. The longest seizure I've had at one point was 10 minutes long, or about 10 minutes long. It was closer to 10 minutes than other ones. So that one freaked my mum out a good bit. And my sister too. Yeah, she was there for that one. It still bothers her too. But you know, there's no point in me saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I can't help it. Well, I can, but there was nothing I could do at the time. I was taking the drugs, and it didn't do much. Sorry for the dog. Hopefully they shut up. How does it feel when you have a seizure? Good question. For me, I feel nothing. It's a little bit of disorientation when I come back around, because for me, I black out, I come back. For me, it's over in an instant. For other people, it can happen for a few seconds, a few minutes. So the disorientation for me mostly comes around because I'm looking around and things are not where they were before. But also, one thing that's fairly common, and they do bring this up in one of the videos, I believe, is if someone's having one, not to like aggressively grab them or anything, because when they're in that disoriented state, that they're not quite themselves, and their body might just like on instinct push back, because it wants to protect you. And then when as you're coming around, you realize, oh, I've just pushed someone. It's happened a couple of times for me. It is used, yeah. Very light touching and saying that, like calling out to them, just like talking very calmly to them, can help. For me, the way that my mom would do it, is she'd just place a hand very lightly on top of my hand and would talk to me until I came back through. And it did make it less disorienting. I think because my body knew something was there the whole time. I don't know if that is the case. That's the way I'd sort of put two and two together, right? But I hope that answers your question. Let's keep going.
Part of the body to
And people can ask
jerk.
anything at any time.
Tonic seizures are where the person will become suddenly very stiff.
Oh, client. I'm sorry.
And the opposite, atonic seizures, are when all their muscles relax at once. It can be scary and distressing to see someone have a seizure, but there are simple things you can do to help both during the seizure and as they recover afterwards. The best way to help depends on the type of seizure. Epilepsy Action has loads of information about first aid for different types of seizures. Epilepsy is such a varied condition. In fact, there are dozens of types of seizure. Some people with epilepsy only have one type of seizure, while others will experience more than one type. The type of seizures someone has tends to remain the same over their lifetime. Epilepsy can affect anyone, and there isn't always a clear answer as to why. It can be caused by a head injury. Rarely, some types of epilepsy can run in families or be caused by a new genetic change. It can be very confusing and worrying to be diagnosed with epilepsy. Epilepsy can be about more than just seizures and can affect all aspects of life, including work, education, driving, and even relationships. But for many people, epilepsy can be well managed with medication and other treatments, meaning few, if any, seizures at all. With the right treatment, over 60% of people with epilepsy stop having seizures altogether. Another good way to manage seizures is to avoid triggers. These don't cause epilepsy, but they can make seizures more likely. Many things can trigger seizures. One of the most familiar is flashing lights, but actually, this only affects a small number of people.
I think that's a very handy one to know, that it's a very small amount of people with epilepsy that are actually, like, when people think epilepsy, they think, oh, flashing, that's gonna get them. And it can. It is good to keep it in mind. As I said, it's a small percentage of people who actually are affected by the lights, which is strange. I guess that's the media, when they've put epilepsy out there, they've said, yes, flashing will kill. They've not done too great a job, as with many illnesses. The media does, in different ways, in different types of media, they're not so good at putting it out there. But be wary, yeah. And it is, yeah, I find it very comforting if someone, the weekend tried to warn us, exactly. It is very comforting if someone that I've either known for a while or they just find out I'm epileptic asks if lights affect. It is a good way to just find out. Now, if you're in like a rave, the lights are flashing and you're perfectly fine, and someone asks you, are you affected by the lights? That one's a bit of a, think yourself. I'm sure you can work this out moment, right? That there are some very obvious tells, but for the most part, it's very much appreciated when people ask. I'm currently dying. Thank you for asking. That's a good way to put it. Casually retreats into hiding. No problem. And hello, Riser. Thank you for coming, bud. But let's carry on.
Triggers are different for each person, but more common triggers include stress, periods, lack of sleep, having a high temperature, or too much alcohol.
Okay. Here's some good ones to cover. So I didn't actually know for a long time that periods affected it. It makes an awful lot of sense, though. Once you think about it, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. If stress can cause it, of course periods can. That's like an incredibly stressful time for women. And as a man, I am so glad I don't get them. My God, do I feel like growing up with just sisters and now one brother. You learn to know when the periods are coming and how to act. Yeah, exactly. It's already a nightmare. But lack of sleep, I mean, that, when you think about, your brain already, when you have a lack of sleep, is all, excuse me, is already kind of struggling to keep up with itself. So it's just good practice in general to get a good amount of sleep. Couldn't be me. And I wasn't aware until I saw this that a high temperature could do it. So that one's interesting. So whilst I was watching some of these, I learned new things. Yeah, calling myself out. This is a call out post on my twitch.com. Bantos Sukuro is a bitch ass motherfucker. But of course, alcohol is a doozy. It's part of the reason I stopped drinking. You know, but there are many reasons, but it definitely played a large factor. You know, when I thought to myself, you know, I'm not making this any easier on myself. Yeah, they can cause a lot of damage. It's not really something you think about. When you think like, oh, I've got a high temperature, you just think, okay, cool down, be fine, right? But there can be so many things that it can mess with. I was gonna say it's quite amazing. I don't know if amazing is the word I'm looking for. But it is quite something to be sure. It's something that if you are having a very high temperature, you really got to look at for yourself however you can. You really got to take your health seriously. In any time, actually, anytime, take your health real seriously. Life is beautiful. Exactly.
Having epilepsy can be difficult. But there are lots of people out there, including those who still have seizures, who lead happy, rewarding, and successful lives in many ways.
As an example of this, but this is also kind of on a sad note. I've forgotten his name. Cameron something. He was like a Disney star, like actor. He was in Descendants, a bunch of other Disney type things. I'm so sorry, I forgot his name. He was epileptic. He got to be, he got to be an actor, live out his dream. Unfortunately, and really unfortunately, he did pass away after having a seizure in his sleep. He was found by a friend unresponsive, and unfortunately they did link it up to the epilepsy being the main cause of his death. So that one, it shook, it shook people who were fans of him. But Cameron Boyce, thank you very much. Yes, that's the one. I remember it was Cameron. Yeah, Cameron Boyce. He was epileptic. It was very sad. It hit. I know it hit the epileptic community quite a bit. So it was like, oh, there's another death. It's pretty scary. It's rare. I will say it is rare to die directly from a seizure. It happens. There is no avoiding the truth that it happens, but it's rare. And he got very unfortunate, and heart is with his family, friends, and anyone who was directly or even indirectly affected by it a lot. Shit is nasty. Let's carry on.
Epilepsy can be a complex condition. But Epilepsy Action is committed to making it as well understood as possible and supporting people affected by the condition. Find out more. Head to Epilepsy Action's website or search Epilepsy Action on social media now.
And I would recommend following them. They're great. They give really good information, and they post when they make a video, and their videos are great. So go follow Epilepsy Action. Shout out to my boys. There we go. And then okay, the next set of videos, remind myself. Okay. So again, content warning. They're great. Exactly. Content warning for this next set of videos. These are going to be showing what it looks like when they have a seizure. It's done in sort of like a skit way, because they were meant to be shown at like schools and stuff, but it still applies, and it's still very handy, and a great way to just very lightly and not, look at this guy dying. It's a calm way to show what happens. And they keep it very lighthearted. I wish the teachers that I had were as kind as the teachers in these videos. Unfortunately, I had quite a bad experience with teachers. So fun times. Educational, exactly. Exactly. It's in the realm of education, and very important to know. So the first one we have is for the show. I assume so. Okay, yeah. The first one they show is a focal seizure. So remember, people can have multiple different types, but these ones just focus on one version per video. So without further ado, take it away, Epilepsy Action.
Have you got anything? I'm starving.
You just had something at break.
I know, but I'm a grown girl, aren't I?
You've got one small life.
Ew. Ow! Hey, you little geeks! Have you done your LCC homework yet?
I'm telling you, it's well hard. Started doing it last night, and then I started texting Edda, and I can't believe that. He's gonna be late yet again. Hayley, what are you looking at? Miss?
Girls, you should be in lessons.
Miss, it's Hayley.
Justine, I need you to calm down. Hayley? Hayley, it's Miss Baxter. I'm just going to get you to sit down for a minute. Let's pop into Miss Renshaw's class. That's it. Justine's going to come too, aren't you, love? That's it, love. Just pop in here and have a sit down for a minute.
Is she gonna be alright, Miss?
Yeah, don't worry, Justine. You alright, Hayley? Just have one of your seizures. No, are you going to be alright, or do you want me to call your mum?
I'll be alright.
Okay. Well, you take a couple of minutes here, and then we'll go on through to class. You look after her. I'm just going to let Mr. Phillips know you're going to be late.
Okay. Yeah, it is extremely low key, and this was the kind that I was having. And as I said, I wish. I think I only really had one teacher, and that was the one who said to my parents, "Oh, go check for this. It's a possibility. You owe it to yourself." And let me know if the audio and stuff is okay. Yeah. Teachers are very much not understanding. I don't know if I ever had a teacher ask if they need to call my parents to make sure I was okay. Apart from the one teacher I said about, and in college, I didn't have any. So those teachers didn't have to, and I am very glad they didn't have to, because holy shit, it is not fun. But those teachers were also really nice, so I feel like they actually would have. But the ones I had in primary or and secondary, secondary's like our high school, I guess. But it goes up to 16. They were not so caring as that, and other kids weren't so good with it either. But it's much more understanding when it comes from kids who are the same age as you, and they see someone acting different. It's hard to say, hard to, when you don't know much about the world, to go, oh, okay, I know exactly what to do here. So a lot of people who have epilepsy and other diseases too, illnesses too, illnesses, they'll go through a rough time with people and bullying. I was pretty lucky. I think because I stood up for myself quite a lot, so it was pretty good to be like, "What's up, motherfucker? You want to start something?" Which probably also wasn't the best because if it then starts a fight, I got to be super careful. But a lot of people, they'll get bullied for it, and it is tough. I think most of the bullying for me came from teachers, which, I mean, it. I don't want to say it represents the state of teaching, but some people are clearly there for the paycheck, and yeet, time to get out, right? If so, and good, it's good. What do you see? Oh no, I'm very much open to talk about it. What do you see? I see. For some, they can see. They get like muffled sound. For me, I just blacked out and came back, and it happened in an instant. So again, I consider myself super lucky, because being able to see all that must suck. And I've known some people who, well, know of more so. I've just sort of lightly talked to them, who have where they can like they don't. From what they've told me, it's yeah, exactly. It's falling unconscious for a moment. For them, a lot of them have said like they don't see completely clearly. It's like they're like squinting, that kind of vision. But then when they come back, they can't really recall what they were looking at. So while the brain is looking at something and the eyes can see it, they'll still be like, "Oh fuck, what the fuck?" Consider yourself lucky, Kuru. It is not fun passing out. And I hope you never have to. When I meet you, Kuru. I'll throw you on your head and then you can learn. No, that is a joke, Twitch. And everybody around, that is a joke. Yeah, it's so for me it was over instantly, which made it very confusing. Because as I said, the world around me had moved around. So I'd come back, and sometimes, it was so quick that I don't even notice it myself. Other times, fuck knows what was going on. I come back, there'd be like if someone's good enough, they'll clear people out a little bit, which also, like, I appreciate that massively because it gives you space to come back a bit. But it's also unnerving because it's like, where the fuck are people? But at least for me, I don't know about everyone, but I know a good amount of people who also have it. But for me, it's the stairs that people, not stairs as in the ones you walk, when people are like staring at you. That's what made it. That's what made it difficult. You come around, people just staring at you, and you can see like people whisper into each other, and it's like, oh fuck, I'm weird. I'm fucking weird, dude. If I had one now, I'd be like, yeah, what? But when you're a kid and you're trying to get your space in the world, it is Probably. If I have, I don't remember it, but it's highly likely because there's been periods of my life where I've had regular seizures. So it is very likely, but I don't remember. So so who knows? Thank God I have the mentality of a clown. Oh, well, I am glad you have the clown, but no, yeah, that if someone's coming around from a seizure or anything, just act like you normally would with normal, life. It is so much less distressing than having people crowded around, or just like seeing people staring at you and making you feel like a fucking weirdo. Kids, you can give a pass to kids. Kids are interested by everything in the world, so if they see something that's a little off, they're gonna stare and they're gonna wonder, what the fuck is that? It's adults that it's like, okay, can you like fuck off for a sec? Like, I'm really scared if it happened to a friend before I watched this video. Yeah, exactly. It is. It like I said earlier, one of my sisters, I think we were like seeing if I could come down on the amount I was taking for it. With doctor's permission. This was all with doctor's permission, and we ran it by them, and they said, okay, let's try it. And I had a really like a really bad one. Like in a public space. I was with my mom and my sister. It was in like a cafe area in a clothes shop. I came to. My sister is still pretty scarred about it. Like one of our dogs, and in a weird way, I'm like, oh hell yeah, but I'm also like, oh god no. One of our dogs is epileptic. So yes, it can affect animals too. But my sister was there when our dog had one. So it brought up all those memories too. So we had to talk her down a bit, and exactly, it's like, hey, you're one of me. But so it's like, as much as I'm like, I feel bad for her, it's like there's nothing I can really do about it. It's that's just the way it is. She knows that. Like, she's not like, oh, I can't believe you would do that to me. Oh, Myoho, I have to tell you something at the end. It's Sag times. I'll send it to you. You're lurking? No problem, bud. Have a good lurk. Lol. Cool. Sick. Nice. Yeah, exactly. It's unsettling when when anyone does. I've not seen many seizures in person myself, and I've not caught our dog having one at any point. But when I have seen any seizures or anything, man, it is tough to watch. It is fucking rough. And usually, if it's happening, I'll just try and. This is not on purpose. This is just the way my mind's like, ignore this. It's not happening. Look away. So it's nothing on the person. It is purely that I'm like, I can't watch this. But let us carry this on. Yeah, it is pretty heartbreaking. But the best thing you can do is just be there for them. Same with people. So this one is, which one? Okay, this one's atonic seizures. where the body gets loosey-goosey, to put it in the stupidest way that my mind could think then.
I don't
So, here we
believe
go.
it.
What's wrong now?
My mum's forgot I've got football tonight.
And?
Nothing. It doesn't matter.
So you say, oh, I don't believe it, and nothing.
Don't be so nosy.
You asked you to join in. Mum's forgot my kit again.
Come on, lads. Get a move on.
See, I've got no kit.
It's alright. There'll be something in the cupboard you can use.
You can wear those red shorts again, Lee.
Andy?
Andy? Andy? Andy, you okay? Yeah?
So is he going to be okay?
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah. You two go and join Miss Macon in the gym, okay? Me and Andy are just going to sit here for 5 minutes. You okay? Yeah? You'll be fine.
Okay, so let's have a little bit of discussion about that one. You know this one, okay. So this shit's tough to watch. See where's my brain coming with this one. Also, this is like the most English videos you could have for this. Andy. Which I guess makes it easier for me because I'm like, oh, I relate. Yeah, atonic seizures, atomic. No, atonic seizure, like that. It's where the body, gets, it starts forwards. Exactly. Yeah. Part of me is like giggling in my mind by the language because I hear it all the time still around. I'm like, yes, that is how we sound. It's also tough to see the stuff, but you see as well he's got like he had the let's back out so you can see it. So he's got like the special headwear just to protect himself. It gets me in here is careful with how they treat kids, but they never tell us anything to our sons because privacy stuff. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's not a great way to do it. You should people should be well aware of how to deal with these things. Who's got it is a big thing. Obviously not to like be like, do you need help with everything? Being patronizing is the most annoying thing, but just being aware that something can happen and how to deal with it is the best thing you can do. Yeah, it would help an awful lot if you know that they need an EpiPen, if they just need to, like one of the things that helped me, if there was if I'm in somewhere with that's bright, is to turn the lights down. It makes it less jarring when you come back around. But oh man, exactly. It would help people be able to deal with it. Front, exactly. Knowledge is the best thing you can have. There are courses you can go on for all these things, and I wouldn't say you must go on them, but there is no harm in doing a first aid course, doing courses for learning how to deal with epilepsy, dealing with diabetes, anything, it's like how one of the things that would be very handy if they taught in, at least the older years of school, is they always teach you how to never have a child, but they don't teach you how to deal with it if you have one. They only did CPR. Okay. They at least gave you that, I guess. But no, they really should. There should be people who regularly come around for the teachers, or for anyone who's in a position where they need to look after other people and give them and give them reminding lessons and keep it fresh in their mind, because people are going to forget what to do sometimes, and that's fine. That is perfectly fine for it to just slip your mind. Everyone has that, right? That is a natural thing. But it is handy to have the information in the first place. Oh yeah, the fake CPR dolls whilst you're singing Staying Alive. Excuse me. But videos like this as well are super handy. Even if this doesn't show exactly how to deal with it from the other side, it's super handy to be able to see it so you can recognize it. And that's something that people is a big thing. For ADHD, people will be like, oh, oopsie doopsie, that's just a hyper child. It's like, actually, it's so much more. Okay, no problem, Riza. Have a good look, bud. As I said, it would be so much more handy to have information, even if it's just in like a pamphlet, just something you can look over before you start your day or something. Just like little cards that say, okay, if someone has this, do this. If someone has this, do that. It would be so handy. But no. But anyway, so there's the atonic, not atomic, atonic. Or like flashcards, yeah, so you can just quickly, even then, actually flashcards would be great. Then you can just quickly, if someone's having something, you just grab it, look, you've got the information, and you know exactly what to do. Be perfect. But what the next one? The next seizure is myoclonic. Okay. So, I can't remember. I watched these. They were tough to watch, so I didn't take it all in. But I think this is where your body completely tenses up. We shall see. See if I've learned well.
I'm not sure if it's
Oh, okay,
mayfly or a mozzie.
Look at the
I think this is one really important thing as well. Is people look like, oh no, I'm not gonna look away. That, like, as I said, it's better to have the knowledge. But one thing that's really good about these videos as well is none of these kids look weird. None of them look like, they have a disease, an illness. They don't look different from anyone else. So it's really difficult to be able to just go, oh, okay, I know you have this. I know you have that. Like, if someone's got a problem with their leg and they have to use a stick, you know exactly what they've got. If someone has epilepsy, you just, like, if they're wearing a head thing, like a protective helmet, you can see, okay, something's wrong, be careful. But with like this, if someone said, oh, okay, which kid has it? It's like, has what? They are just there. But I'll carry it on.
antenna.
And
The tail, you muppet.
You mop it.
Give it here then. You write it down this time. What's wrong with you?
I'm just tired.
It's last lesson. Get this over with in its own time.
Okay.
A 3 Jacob, what are you doing? It's gone all over the sheet.
Okay. Some of the kids in the school wear noise suppressing headphones because the loud noise really disturbs them. Oh, okay. This is a super, like, this one I think is the best of their videos because it shows a more real response from another kid who is like never seen these sort of things, right? They might get angry at someone and just assume you're being an idiot, you know. All that stuff's gone over. How dare you, you know. It's nothing on them, you know. If they were given the information, it'd make it so much easier. I'm not saying you have to stand in front and go, everybody, this is mandatory class where you must now take part in curing each other. But man, it like just being like, okay, these things happen. If it happens, don't get angry, just understand. That is all you need. Just understanding is half the fucking thing.
It's alright, Lucy. Get it cleared up. Are you okay? I'm okay. You sure? Come and see me at the end of this and we'll have a chat. Alright.
It shows as well, it can be over really quick. Sometimes it can last a good while. Other times it's there and it's gone. So it might look like someone's just being an idiot, or a muppet, as they said in this. Yeah, it's an immediate response that I will never blame anyone for having. Ow. Sorry about that. You know, it from like an adult side, it's like, okay, we're able to respond a little better, yet casually cracking. I do it all the time and I forget I'm streaming. I'm just like, oh, I just cracked my fingers. You know, as an adult, you can see things that even if you're not used to seeing them or aware of it, you can sort of rationalize in your mind, okay, I should act this way, I shouldn't do this. As a kid, you're on that line where it's like, let's see what happens. You know, you're still learning about the world, and that there's things that people can't control, and they're just there. Not much you can do about it. So I will never blame a child for their immediate response, unless their immediate response is like hitting you or something. Then it's like, whoa, back the fuck up. But for the most part, it's responses like that where they're like, what are you doing? You know, because they don't understand, and that is, you know, and they're not being taught to understand. And you know, it's easy enough to say, well, it's on the parents and on them to self-educate. School is there to teach you things when you're growing. Some teachers, and this is going to sound like a kind of fucked up way to say things, but it's true. Some teachers see the kids more than their parents do. Some kids don't even have some kids won't even have parents to teach them. School is the way they learn. They're almost like secondary parents. So being able to teach them there about so many things, about just like, what's like a really simple one that you see people have even more. Even if you see someone, I don't think they even train you to like show kids, be like, okay, they've hurt themselves, here's what you should do. They're just like, oh, just call us. It's like, well, what if they need to deal with it instantly? You gotta teach them what to do. How can parents know this? Should be taught. There's so many things you can teach a child. Where does the parent start? Things like, exactly. If a parent doesn't know, what are they supposed to do? Yeah, exactly. If a parent won't teach a child, then teach the child to parent, right? Teach them what you would teach any adult, within reason. Explicit things they can learn on their own, but things that will help people, yeah, with illnesses or tough situations. That shit will, like, if you give them the means to know what they're doing, it will make life so much easier. But let's let's carry on. I've waffled on that for a bit.
Do you want me to finish
And feel
that?
free to ask anything at any point. Like, it is an open forum. I tried to put the Ask Me Anything as a tag, but it was like, oh, you can only choose 5 tags, even though I didn't have 5 tags chose. So, thanks, Twitch. I just thought of something as well that, like, I talked a little bit about before, and I thought, you know, maybe it's just like gut reaction. It won't bother me. It still kind of bothers me. It still has the challenge run tag. Oh, shit. I accidentally hit the add button there. It's fine. What was I saying? Speedrun epilepsy education, any percent. Oh my god, that's good. I like that. See, if we can talk lightly about things, but in like a way that makes sense, it's so much. Oh, there you go. You've redeemed it. So that ad was on purpose. Oh, what? Thank you. Now I don't look stupid. What was I saying that? Oh, right. So this was something that at the time I thought, oh, it's just a bother for the moment. It's not that big. Oh, maybe. Oh, whatever. It's fine. Twitch will do its own thing. But it's still, you know, it still bothers me. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's more than just gut reaction. But like Twitch a good bit ago now, they they added loads of tags to stuff. They and going through them, they got one for many different illnesses and stuff. But there was none for epilepsy. It's just a neurological condition, and it still bothers me because it's like epilepsy affects a fuck ton of shit, man. So it still bothers me that it's like, oh, I just had to put neurological condition, so when people come in, they can be like, what is condition? And it would be nice, and I'd like, for me, it would feel nice to be able to like search an epileptic tag and find other people within that same group, because it's nice to have, you know, people in your realm as such. And maybe Twitch just assumes people with epilepsy, they're all affected by lights, so they cannot stream. That's not how it works. Custom tags would be hard to implement. But I understand the thought there. So it's still a bit of a bummer that it doesn't exist as a tag. Who knows? Maybe they'll change it. But yeah, I see it getting abused as well. People would make some horrible tags. Like, I'm sure you probably see like anti-LGBT tag or something stupid. Because people like to show their hate. I don't understand why. But let's carry on the lessons, shall we? And here's the other one I have. Absence seizure. Kind of cringe. Exactly. People are kind of cringe. So absence seizure is the other one I have. So let's see what this looks like.
Teddy bear, turn around. Teddy bear, touch the ground. Teddy bear, show your shoe. Teddy bear, that will me do. Next. It's me next. No, it isn't. Yeah, it is. It's in the alphabet. Next is B for Beth. Me. No, it's oldest and I'm the second oldest after Adele. Isn't that right, Adele? My birthday's after yours. Yeah? Am I not next? No, you. It's your turn. You were chasing Jack Garrett. I'm in the rope pen. I had a little puppy. His name was Tiny Tim. But you're out, my turn. I still was not out. It wasn't me. It was Katie. What? It was you. You stopped the rope. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Right, I'm still in. I had a little puppy. His name was Tiny Tim. Katie, why do you keep stopping the rope? Come on then, Katie, give me the rope. So not fair.
Are you okay, Katie?
You keep stopping the rope when it's my turn.
It's okay, Sally. Are you okay, Katie?
I'm fine, sir.
Okay, carry on, girls.
Thanks, can we start again then?
And this one has my favorite teacher interaction. Just the quick. Yeah. I at one point I was having many little bursts, sort of like that. And that's when they were really like, okay, yeah, you use epileptic, bro. Man, I wish I had a teacher who, like, when people would complain, be like, what the fuck are they doing, bruv? The teacher would just go, it's alright, don't worry about it. Like, just saying it's okay to other people, not just, you know, the person having the problem. Man, that goes a long way. But I said I had a mix of that and the vocals, so I like twitch a little bit, and my eyes as well. That was another thing. My eyes sometimes would roll into the, like, roll back, and it would blink a lot. I think that's the one I had when I was with my sister, and that one really freaked her. That was what really freaked her out. But man, as much as like I love these videos for like showing what it looks like and keeping it, you know, they got school kids. There's a limit to how realistic you can keep it, right? It's a little light-hearted look at it, but it's still like, it hits good. But it also sort of lives in this perfect world where teachers are like, I understand, let me deal with this. When the reality, unfortunately, is more that teachers aren't, they're not taught how to deal with it. And then it comes out in confusion for them, which then comes out a lot of the time in just blaming the child for having a problem that they can't do anything about. So that stuff's rough. It's even with people, you know, it's one of the things that affects, like, having relationships, you know, friend relationships, romantic relationships, family relationships. It makes it tough sometimes because they don't know how to deal with it. Even if you let them know how to deal with it. Some, when it actually comes round to it, they don't know how to deal with it, and they're like, well, then I just don't want to deal with it. And that shit hurts. When it's someone who you hold close to you, and like, and they're like, that's your thing. Shit hurts. Should be required for all teachers. It's very handy. But this is part of the reason I wanted to stream, right? I wanted to be able to spread awareness for different things, and give back. In in response to the help that I've had from like family and stuff, from the people who are actually like there for me for it. Like, I want to give back in whatever way I can. So this is the one way, I suppose. Super informative. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it. I am a little worrier, and so thank you again to those. Oh, there you go. The most useful thing. I've been helping you learn Yu-Gi-Oh, bruv. That's even more important. Okay, I'm joking, obviously, but I appreciate it. Okay, what's the... Oh, okay. Is this one still epilepsy action? Yeah. Okay. So this one's more like just a demonstration of a possible thing. And this was one of the things I had that I would do. I explained before, the lip smacking. So it'd be staring off and the lips doing something like that. So it almost looks like you're chewing as well. So, it's not something people will often do. So when they see it, they're like, what the fuck? Oh, and here's the chewing. So you got the smacking, the chewing. You can have a combination of either, sometimes even both together. I don't know why it does it. Maybe it's just the brain saying, okay, these are things we do otherwise. Let's just default to that. I don't know. Let me pause this one. But it's handy to be able to see. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to put out another content warning. Exactly. This one's real tough. While I don't have these type of seizures, this one's real tough. But I'll point out what's good, what they could have done better. Not acting wise. The acting, I don't care. I'm not here to give them acting lessons, right? It's for educational. And what they could have done, in my opinion, that if I had had something like this, that would have helped me. So let's see the and which ones we're talking about. It's the tonic-clonic, previously known as grand mal. So here we go.
Right, girls, we're going to have to do that again from the top. It's just not good enough. You know, when you're on stage, everybody can see you. There is nowhere that you can hide. You two at the back especially, you'll be seen, so concentrate, please. From the beginning, following me. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. 5, 2, 3, 4. 6, 2, 3. The ending. Why are you all coming up at different times? You know that last beat, you've all got to come up together. You're going to look ridiculous. We'll try it one more time. I'll face this way, see if that helps. Following me. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4.
Why is she shaking like that? What's she doing?
Can you just move back a little bit, please?
She's still shaking.
Right, Sarah, can you go and get Mr. Bosworth for me? Joanne, can I have your jumper? All of you, can you just go and wait in the corner for me over there?
This, yeah. So I paused it here because this is something that's really good. It's something you do quick, and then you get back, and then you like retreat back a little bit. If you can put something under their head, obviously they're using crash mats because they want everybody to be safe. But if you think about it, normally there might not be something behind them. There might be road behind them. There might be like gravel. Could be so many different things. So putting something behind the head really quickly and retreating back stops them from smacking their head against the floor. It's still they'll still be hurt. There's no stopping that. But it reduces it. So that's and another great thing that's really helpful for doctors is if you can give them a time for how long a seizure has lasted. It lets them know the severity, and if they need to, they might need to up the dosage on the drugs. It's very helpful for parents as well, actually. My mum found it handy to keep a record for herself because then she could see that it was improving. So it was kind of like therapeutic to see it get better on her end, which was nice. Not having my mum be upset is lovely. But that's okay. Really important thing here. In a sec. Okay. Before she does anything here, she checks down the legs and back up visually to see that the seizure has ended. Now, they do it a little quick here because they're just showing what to do in the moment. We just give it about a minute, just give it a few seconds, maybe like 10 to 15, just to make sure that it doesn't, so if they have a second one, you've not messed with it at all. But you just be careful, and then when they've had one, once it's stopped, some way you can help, and you do this very lightly. If there's any pushback, just take your hands away, but putting them on their side so that they don't, the reasons you put them on their side rather than on their back, it's not so they don't choke on their tongue. That's a myth. You cannot choke on your tongue. It's so if they are sick or if there's saliva, they don't choke on those. That's because that's the most common thing they'll choke on. Yeah, I figured it's probably handy to go through it as it's going. You can hear people moving across the hallway here. But making sure so you make sure that it's finished. You turn them on their side so that, yeah. Okay. I'm glad it's helping then. So that they don't choke, not on their tongue. So they don't choke on their saliva, or if they're sick, that either. Because it can be, from what I'm told and have researched, it's fairly often that after one of these seizures, someone's sick. I don't know the science behind it, but it can be, it's something to look out for. But you don't want to do anything that will hurt them, right? So you want to be really careful when you're moving them. But you make sure, and I really want to emphasize this, you make sure they have stopped having the seizure before you go anywhere near them. You just want to clear the space, make sure there's as few things they can hurt themselves on as possible around them. And the main thing you never do is don't put things in their mouth. Like anything. Don't put your fingers, don't put like a mouth guard, whatever it is. And if they have something in their mouth, if you can remove it quickly, very handy. Because they don't have in that state, there is no control over your jaw. You could bite someone if they put their hands in. If you put something in their mouth and it breaks, yeah, exactly. Okay, that's good. If it breaks, they'll choke on that. It's something that you'd think is common sense, but it is not. So many people, they try and pry the mouth open. They think, oh, if I put something between there, it'll help. That's how people break jaws. It's how people get injured in general. Both the person having the seizure and the person they are trying to help. The main thing to try and take away from it is they are trying to help, but they've just not been taught how to. Once they've been taught how to, then I can blame them if they mess up. Otherwise, while you think it's common sense, it's understandable, because there's still, for some reason, people still share around that, what if they choke on their tongue? A good test here, if you take any of your fingers, you roll your tongue up so it's like touching the roof of your mouth, and you press underneath your tongue, you'll feel there's skin there holding your tongue against the bottom of your mouth. Unless someone takes like a knife and slices that, your tongue is not going to fall down your throat. Your tongue is quite secure, and it's a pretty strong muscle. So let's keep this going though.
It's Miss Sharp. We're in the gym. And you're
Okay. Here's one of the things I'd change. The hand on the shoulder. Instead, just a very light touch on the hand. I would leave it at that. But talking to them is really handy. It lets you know that someone's there and that they're looking after you. It's very rare though if the tongue gets swollen during a seizure. And if it does get swollen, you're gonna end up hurting them more if you pry it all open. Yeah, unless they're like biting their tongue and it gets infected in a moment's notice. It's like then that, but usually in a seizure, the tongue will like seize up, so it'll stay in the mouth. But yeah, with this, I'd just say, rather than put your hand on the shoulder, if their hand is there, just lightly, like even if it's just one finger, you just rub it in circles on the hand. For me personally, that helped a lot. Like when I came back around, I think it's just knowing someone's there, and is looking after you sufficiently.
okay, but
let's see.
you've had one of your seizures. You're going to be just fine. All right, I just need you to relax. Try your best to rest. Good girl, that's right. You're doing really well. Just try your best to relax.
Okay. Overall, for me, this is a a fantastic video. And all this set of videos, they are short. They can be very easily shown in schools. Schools have no excuse for not teaching kids about diseases. I keep saying diseases, illnesses. That, you know, YouTube has so many videos that are short, concise, and give all the information you'll need. It doesn't take long. Now, obviously, this one's been going on for an hour 45, but I'm doing a specific talk about one topic. If you want to show about multiple, you can just show some videos like this and just pause every now and again and explain why something's happening. And that's all someone needs. You just give someone a little bit of a push on the know-how. And then a lot of the stuff your brain can sort of put together and say, well, if I do this, I should probably be doing this or not doing this. What's the next one? Ugh, excuse me. Okay, what was this one? I think this was how to deal with a... Yeah, okay. Okay. So this is just how to deal with tonic seizures. So not quite the same as the last one, but you know, there'll be some connections that you might notice.
No, she's fine. She wasn't feeling very well after rounds this morning, and we thought she looked a little bit peaky, so we've let her have a lie down. It's just a precaution. Yes, we've got a care plan, and someone's with her now. Okay, no problem. See you shortly, thanks. Goodbye.
Looking a bit peaky. It's the most northern thing I've heard.
Is everything all right?
Yeah, she's just sleeping.
I'll be next door if you need me.
Actually,
Is everything all right?
this is a really good example of how hard it can be to tell between the absent seizure and someone just sort of concentrating on something. Looking a bit peaky. So not looking so good. Like, you might think, looking at that from all we've done, gone over, that's an absent seizure. She's looking. She's just, in this context, she is purely looking at the person, and just concentrating there. So that's how difficult it can be, you know, to tell, like, oh, yeah, they're having a seizure, like, of this kind, rather than just, oh, they're just doing their human business. That sounds weird. Yeah, that's just
She's just sleeping. I'll be next door if you need me.
an example. So again, they go with the timer. Like I said, the timer's really handy. So you can give it to the parents and they can show it to the doctors and say, okay, this is where they're at now. This is where they were at. What can we do different? But there was something also there. The eyes rolling back. That was another thing that every now and again mine would do. And it would have, my eyelids would flicker. So it's just another quick one.
Okay, Kelly. I'm just going to put you onto your side.
So then again, yeah, they just made sure it's finished. They're out of seizure mode. Seizure mode, Jesus. The seizure is finished. It's going over it a little quick, but it's just to show what to do. And then again, just putting them on their side, just so there's saliva or sick, they won't choke on it.
Here and have a rest.
And this is another thing that can come from it. I don't really get this personally, but some people I know do. It'll make them very tired, both before and after. It could be one of the signs for some people that they're about to have a seizure. They'll just suddenly get very tired, and there might be like a weird taste in their mouth. For me, it's just, oh, there it is. Oh, it's gone. And I'm a little bit, disorientated when I get disorientated when I come back around. So for some people, they can sort of, it's like, to put it in a silly way, but in a way that is understandable. It's kind of like a spidey sense, but for your own body. Your body's saying, "Oh, something's coming that's not gonna be good. Let's try and warn you." And the tiredness, I think it's just the brain relaxing, just needing that moment to catch back up with itself. So it's fairly simple, and oh, that's something there. The way she's doing that there, very lightly on the arm, just stroking it. That's the way I was saying before. Just super light. Keep it simples. Okay. So the next video, I'll admit, it's a little cringe. In the acting department, but what they're saying when it comes to the information during it is really important. It's just a little overacted at some points, okay? So it's important. You just have to put aside the acting. They're still young. It's okay.
Have you gotten your history test results back yet? Mine haven't posted.
Oh, no, I don't think so. Then I'm not obsessed with checking them every few minutes.
Well, your dad's not hanging your gas money on your test score. So unfair.
Oh, hey, Arthi.
Oh, hey.
And again, I'll pause at bits.
It's nothing. Don't worry about it.
Are you sure you seem upset?
Yeah, I'm good. All right. You know Jeremy, right?
Yeah, you've been seeing it for what, like 2 weeks?
Actually, more like 3, but not anymore.
Oh, what happened?
It doesn't matter.
It matters, you're upset.
Okay, but this is just between us, all right? You too, Gavin.
I'm good.
So everything was going fine the first couple of weeks. He kept coming up with things for us to do together. We had a really nice time. So on Saturday, he comes over in the morning because we're gonna go biking. So I was getting my helmet and my bike together, and then I realized I forgot to take my medicine, so I run back inside. So when I come back out, he asks me what I forgot, and I told him I just had to take my medicine. Well, that starts the whole line of questioning. Are you sick? What's wrong? All that.
What did you tell him?
I told him the truth, I have epilepsy, it's no biggie. But as soon as I say the words, I see his expression. It's like I told him I had terminal cancer.
I don't know. That's why I was like, okay, it's a little cringe, but the premise of the video is important. Here's one of them, and probably one of the most tough things when people find out you're epileptic. That's why I try and put it out early, to gauge what kind of person someone is, because some people that are like, whoa, can't deal with this, something wrong with you. And it's like, yeah, but I'm not a fucking creature from the dark. I'm not hiding under fucking bridges and coming out and being like, give me your pills. But unfortunately it happens a lot. It has got in the way of, like, epilepsy as a whole has got in the way of probably the majority of my relationships, like romantic relationships, I mean. Exactly, yeah, it's not some way you treat someone. Like, you shouldn't treat someone differently the minute you find out something's a little off. But, and then there are also things like, after a relationship, I'll think back on something and I'll think, wow, okay, why the fuck didn't I like raise a flag there, or didn't I say something? Did I not like? How did I not realize that that's fucked up for them to say? But hindsight, you know. Yeah, exactly. People find something, they're like, whoa, how am I supposed to deal? And I don't expect people to understand everything the moment they hear it, right? But I hope, I just hope that there are people who are like, for those people who are understanding once they get it, and then are just like, okay, well, you're still you, so I don't give a fuck. Like, there are people that I'm not really in contact with anymore because I just haven't seen them, but I still hold them as like good friends because they didn't treat me differently. I'm not the monster under the bridge. Just me. So there's that.
Huh?
Basically, he thinks she has a death sentence.
Really?
Yeah, and then he drops me.
He broke up with you?
Yeah.
What for?
You're not gonna believe this.
Tell me.
He thought by being too close to me, he might catch it.
And yes, as silly as that sounds, I have had moments with people where they have asked, is it contagious? Yes, there are people who hear epilepsy and think, huh, will I catch it? It's so stupid. It's one of those things that you just have to laugh at, or it will just hurt. It's so dumb.
Epilepsy was contagious?
Yeah.
What an idiot.
Right?
Exactly, my guy.
Most people don't know the actual facts about epilepsy and seizures.
Well, not like that. I mean, I'm no rocket scientist on epilepsy, but even I know it's not contagious.
Yeah, but what about other stuff? Like, what if I were to have a seizure right here on the floor? Would you know what to do?
Sure I would.
Really?
Yeah, why don't you prove it? Yeah. Me and Arthur will test you on it, and if you pass, we'll get your caffeine fix tomorrow.
Oh, you're on.
Take charge of the facts. Oh, man.
Hi, what can we get for you today?
We'll have 3 grande cappuccinos, please.
It's like the room.
Oh, and tomorrow she's getting me a venti with the works.
We'll see about that one.
All right, we'll get those right out to you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Arthur, what do you think we should test him on?
Maybe some true or false.
Sounds good.
True or false? You can tell if someone has epilepsy by looking at them.
Okay, a true or false on that. Can you tell by looking at them? Let's see what you think. People in chat, give me your true or false. Some of them are pretty easy. I'll put it out there, right? Some of these you want to score 100%. Okay.
Oh, that's crazy. False. People with epilepsy don't look any different.
Ding, ding,
and I'm pretty
ding.
sure they can do most anything they want, right?
Right. Most people with epilepsy can do any sport they want. Go.
Okay. They said any sport they want. I will put a asterisk on that, because combat sports you technically can do, but definitely can't do the actual one-on-one combat with people. I did a bit of kung fu, and my Sifu, lovely man, absolutely insane, but a lovely man. When it came around to the sparring, obviously you had to ask, is there any reason anybody can't? And so I said, oh yeah, I'm epileptic. And he was like, oh yeah, you did say. He was like, okay, we'll, he got one of the other senior guys there to just go over some other stuff with me. And you know what? That was perfectly fine to me. I knew, in my head, I was like, I'm probably just going to be told to sit out. So I was just happy that he was like, oh, take this guy. he'll just like kick your shins for a bit or something, I don't know. So like, I am super grateful for those guys. Exactly. That's the whole point. They're like, okay, there's already a risk of being hit in the head, right? For anyone. So you got to be careful either way. But if you've got like epilepsy or anything that like, if you hit them in the head, you got to be super careful. It's not worth the risk. But in general, you could do football, American football. You have to be a little careful on that one. Basketball, most sports, you're pretty much fine. So
School, have any job they want, and even drive a car as long as their seizures are controlled.
I'm gonna go back a little.
School, have any job they want, and even drive a car.
Okay, the even drive a car. I will raise a point on this. She's completely right. You can, like most people with epilepsy, are completely fine to drive a car. The caveat to that is, if I remember off the top of my head correctly, it is now 2 years without a seizure. You can then have your take a test. But the thing is, for me and a lot of people with epilepsy, there is a massive fear of learning to drive or driving in general, because there's that bit in the back of your head that you're like, but what if I have a seizure? What if I'm driving and I have a seizure and I hurt someone? It's not even like an I get hurt. It's if someone else gets hurt, right? So I've not learned to drive. Now, I'm in this sort of ballpark where I'm like, okay, I'm interested. Before it was like, nah, I ain't going anywhere near that. Microsoft, can you fuck off? Sorry, Microsoft's trying to download something from in their store. Can you wait? But yeah, so there's still that a little bit of the fear in there. But yeah, they're still like the information's still on, so
As long as their seizures are controlled.
And they have gas masks.
Yeah. Okay, here's another one, Gavin. If someone is having a seizure, can they swallow their tongue?
well, I've already given you the answer to this one, but can they swallow their tongue? Let's see how well you've been listening, Kuru, and anyone else who's in chat. True or false? What? It seems you've been listening. 10 points to Gryffindor.
No, I don't think so.
You don't sound so sure.
The fact is, if someone is having a seizure, they can't swallow their tongue, but they can have trouble breathing if anything else gets in the way. So if someone is having a seizure, don't put anything in their mouth and turn them on their side so saliva doesn't get in the way and cause breathing problems.
Okay, here's another one. Can you die from epilepsy?
Oh, hello again, Penny. Okay. Here's one. Can you die from epilepsy? True or false? And this is directly from epilepsy, not like, oh, I have epilepsy and I fell. So true but rare. Okay, Penny, what about you? I see you answered on the last one. I'm interested to know. See how well you've been listening. And anyone else, if you'd like to, if you'd like to jump in. From a seizure, yeah, from a seizure, from something directly impacted from the epilepsy. Ding, ding, ding. 200 points to Hufflepuff. I apologize. You know what? 300, because we accidentally gave 100 somewhere else earlier. It is true, but it is rare.
So, epilepsy is serious, right?
Yeah, it is serious, and a person can die from having a seizure. but it's actually pretty rare. And on top of that, people with epilepsy take medication that really helps in most cases. Like, I haven't had a seizure in more than 3 years.
Okay,
Stay.
next one. Is epilepsy a mental illness?
Oh, that's...
All right. There's the curveball. Is epilepsy a mental illness? Let's see what you think on this one. Is it classed as a mental illness in medical terms? Be interested to see if anyone gets this one right. Let's see. Oh my god, tough question. Okay. Is that your final answer? You're free to change it if you feel like changing it. You don't have to. All right. Anybody else wanna give an answer? False. All right. Let's see.
That's easy. Epilepsy isn't a mental illness, it's a medical condition. Say,
There we
like
go.
diabetes or heart disease, only it's in the brain.
Right, our brains have
While it's in the brain, it is not a mental illness. So that's why it's a curveball, because it's like, okay, it's in the brain. It must be. No. And this is something that I only learned like recently. I gone most of my life like, yeah, it's a mental illness. It's in the brain. No. It's like you said. It's more of a. It affects the nervous system, and it's more physical.
have billions of nerve cells that send electrical messages back and forth throughout the brain. Epilepsy is when some of these misfire. Sometimes people call this a brainstorm. When this happens, the brain cells don't work normally for a few seconds or a few
brainstorm.
minutes. If it happens in a small part of the brain, let's say motor control, your leg may start to twitch. Sometimes people may look confused and not know what's going on. But if it happens all over the brain at once, you may black out. Shaking movements of the arms and legs will happen too, or you might just fall to the ground.
But why do people think it's a mental disorder?
They're stupid.
Gavin.
Epilepsy can
They're
look like a mental
stupid.
disorder, like if a person's confused and doesn't know what's going on.
Most people don't know what epilepsy is, and they get scared when they see people having seizures. But that was only one type of seizure, and there's more than one, right?
Right. Ready for this, Gavin? There are more than 20 different types of seizures.
Okay, I was about right. There's more than 20 different types. There you go.
Seizure depends on which part of the brain is involved.
Your 3 cappuccinos are ready?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're my favorite customer. Hi, doggy.
Kinds of seizures? Wow, that's a lot.
Here, let me help. I can find you some examples.
So in your brain, when it's having those misfires,
Okay, they're also going to show sort of what it looks like
it's
here.
either focused in one part or the whole brain gets involved. When it's focused, it's just a small part of the brain that is affected. So you might have a part of your body jerk or spasm like this. If you're with them, you might not even know they were having this kind of seizure. But that small part of the brain that is affected might also cause the person's senses to send the wrong signals.
I've just remembered one as well. One thing that I would have is my leg would bounce, which is also a thing that happens to people if they're like, when they're hyper, or it's a thing for like people with ADHD. It's just the energy is put into the leg and it bounces. But it could also be that I'm having a seizure. It is. So that's one of the tough ones, because like, is it? Who knows? Let me call this name and see what happens.
Like they might smell something weird, or they may think they hear or see something that's not there. But they're totally conscious and can talk to you.
Got it. Focal, aware, motor, and non-motor?
Right. Then there's something called focal impaired awareness. It's still focused in one part of the brain, but now it's affecting their alertness. Even though they can walk around, they're confused and not aware of what they're doing. Or maybe they look okay, but don't know or remember what's going on. It's kind of like sleepwalking. To someone who doesn't know any better, this kind of seizure looks like someone might be drunk or on drugs or something like that.
Maybe.
So that was similar to what mine was like, where it's almost like someone's blowing in your face, and you're like, stop. So it looks strange from the outside when you're not like, when you're not really aware of what's going on. And I completely understand the like, what the fuck side of it, right? So there's that.
Maybe that's where the myths got started. How long does this kind of seizure last?
That kind of seizure can last a couple minutes, but it feels like longer.
Okay, focal impaired awareness seizures. It's a mouthful, but it makes sense.
Gavin, do you know how to help someone who's having one of these seizures?
Well, if they're walking around like that, but they're not conscious, they could seriously hurt themselves. So I'd hold them so they wouldn't move around so much.
Actually, that's the worst thing to do. If they're restrained or sometimes even just touched, their subconscious thinks something bad is happening and they might push back, but they don't even know that they're doing it.
Check this out. I saw this video.
Okay, so this part is a little bit exaggerated. It still applies. It's just a little exaggerated here in a sec.
Online. This
But
guy's
yeah.
having a focal impaired awareness seizure right in the middle of shopping. Someone calls the cops because they think he's on drugs or something, and the police try to touch him and try to turn him around.
What's your problem?
Whoa, that's crazy. So, that guy...
Let me see.
That's crazy.
So there's a video that I will not show. It is way too disturbing. And it fucked me up. This picture sort of gives an idea of it. Whoa, that's crazy. There was a video, I want to say in France, I think it was. A guy was having one of these types of seizures. Someone called the police. The police came to like deal with it, and they were still like during the seizure, and the police figured, oh, they're fighting back, so they held them against the floor whilst they were having a seizure. It's pretty horrible. Yeah, even with people shouting out at them that, this. Yeah. they came. Yeah, it is kind of crazy they come that fast. But that video is fucked up because they just assumed, they're resisting arrest. The person was pretty badly injured. It wasn't good. So there's the worry that, what if that happens and I'm put in that position? What the fuck do you do? So there's not really anything you can do. And I don't think there was any like repercussions for the police either, because as far as they were aware, he was resisting, and they hadn't been taught about that kind of seizure. So it left very confused, and and like I could see from their side, but at the same time, it's like, what the fuck? Like, got away with that? He didn't die, so that's good. But he was in he was hurt pretty bad.
That guy didn't know he just hit a police officer?
Nope, not a clue. That's why people need to know about this stuff. If the police knew what this type of seizure looked like, they wouldn't have touched him. The right thing to do is to wait for it to pass. And if the person's in danger of walking to an unsafe place, You block their path or walk with them to keep them safe. You don't try to stop them from walking or touch them in any way.
Just guide them, basically.
Guess I'm not doing too well on this test, huh?
Well, there's more. You can make it up.
Now, the other kind of seizures are called generalized. They affect the whole brain from the beginning. Some affect movement and some don't. The ones that don't affect movement are called absent seizures. When someone is having this kind of seizure, again, they're not aware while it's going on for a few seconds. If you don't know any better, you might think this person's just a space case or daydreaming, but they're not. These things just come on and then they go. When it's over, they're perfectly fine.
You have video of that one?
Yeah, here.
Yeah. It's like they're gone for a few seconds and then they just snap back.
Yep, it's pretty
Snap
wild.
back
but
to
people learn
reality.
to live with it. Outside of these brief instances, you never know they had epilepsy.
It's okay, I
unless
can
they
say
had
that.
Bunches of them at the
I
same
have
time.
that.
If that happens, the person looks confused or acts funny for 5 to 10 minutes, or maybe even half an hour or more.
What should I do to help?
There's really nothing you can do to help a person having this kind of seizure. It comes and goes so fast. But if they're having bunches of them at the same time or act confused for a while, get some help. So nothing special to do with the usual absent seizure, but when it's over, ask if they're okay, tell them what happened, and be a friend too.
Okay. And you said there were more types, right?
Right.
That's very good advice. Just be normal. Let them know what's happened. Just ask them if they're feeling alright, if they want to sit down for a bit. Because sometimes, you like, if you stood up and you have one, the disorientation can make it kind of weird standing up. So it's good sometimes to just sit down for a sec, collect yourself, and then you can just carry on. But for the most part, it's just letting them know what's gone on and being there. It's pretty pog.
So the most common type of generalized seizure is the one people most think of when they hear about epilepsy. It's called tonic-clonic seizure. So this seizure affects consciousness and muscle control. The person may fall if they were standing up, and their muscles get stiff, and then shaky movements of the arms and legs happen. Sometimes people say there's foaming at the mouth, but that's wrong. It's just saliva that they can't swallow. They may lose bladder control too. They're not conscious, and it feels like it lasts forever, but it's usually only 1 to 3 minutes.
And there's the real rough one. Oh boy. Yeah. So it can be, in the one they showed before, it wasn't quite as violent as that one. Yeah, it can be, those seizures can be super violent. And unfortunately, all you gotta do is just live with it. That shit's scary. Both for the person and, from the outside, it's like, what the fuck do you do? Like, all you have to, you just have to wait. And the waiting fucking sucks. It's the hardest part for people on the outside. But any type of seizure, I know for my mom, just saying, like, it was the waiting and just having to sit there and say, well, maybe he'll come out of it soon. Fucking sucked. So let's carry on a bit.
Yeah, I've seen this. I've even seen it for real.
You did? Did you know what to do?
Yeah, well, we just turned him over on his side and waited a couple minutes till it was over. Someone called 911, I think.
That's good, Gavin, but there's more. When someone is having a tonic-clonic seizure, the most important thing to do is not freak out. It can look scary, but the seizure itself really doesn't harm them. Like you said, you want to turn them on their side, but you also want to protect their head. So maybe put a sweater or a coat under it. And also take off their glasses if they're wearing them. And loosen any tight clothing. But don't put anything in their mouth or try to restrain them. Just protect them and be there for them when they come up afterwards.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just try and be careful,
It does.
basically.
You also want to time how long the seizures last. This tells you whether or not they need to go to the hospital.
Really? Shouldn't you call 911 right away?
Well, not necessarily. If this person's been diagnosed with epilepsy and the seizure lasts less than 5 minutes, there's really nothing a hospital can do. It'll be long over by the time they get there. The more important thing is to be there for them when they wake up and help them along. It can take
So while it's good to also get them, like I said, as like a record. So, because usually you'll go in for just general checkups to see how you're doing, and if you have a record of how long your seizures have been lasting and how long between, like the date and stuff, it's really handy for them to be able to lock it down and say, okay, if this is the case, maybe we need to up it, or this is okay, like this is the best we can do right now.
Someone about 10 to 30 minutes to fully regain consciousness after a tonic-clonic seizure.
But there are exceptions, right, Arthi? I heard that if a woman is pregnant, she should get examined.
Yeah, you're right. There are times to call 911, like if the woman's pregnant or a person has diabetes, if they hurt themselves from falling on the ground, if they have a seizure while swimming, if the seizure lasts longer than 5 minutes, or they don't wake up. Yeah, you should call 911.
Jeez. Guess that's a lot.
Or if you, I don't know what the number is for every country, but in the UK, it's 999. So that's that one. If you're in the UK, it's 999. If anybody wants to put the number in chat for what it is in your country, that'd be handy. So I have no idea for other countries. I know it's 911 for America, because a lot of American TV, but it's 999 here.
A lot to know. How do you remember all this?
It's not hard, really. The focal or generalized stuff are just medical terms. I look for whether or not the person is fully conscious while it's happening, so aware versus impaired awareness. If they're aware, there's not much I can do to help other than...
Yeah, I like 112 more. It's right at the top. No bullshit. But yeah, okay, so 112 for Sweden. Okay, thank you very much.
If they aren't fully conscious, then you need to see if the seizure's affecting movement, so motor versus non-motor. If it's affecting movement, protect them from things that could be dangerous to them, like walking in front of traffic or hitting their head. Basically, all the stuff we just talked about.
See, it's just a matter of someone telling you. I mean, all my good friends, like Monica, know what to do because I've told them.
Ah, so I guess I'm one of your good friends now, huh?
Not so fast. Arthi, what else should we test him on?
How about some facts? Do you have any idea how many people have epilepsy?
Nope, not too sure about that one.
About 3 million people in the US, and 300,000 of them are students. And here's another thing, 10% of all Americans will have a seizure at some point in their life.
Wow, so it's pretty common then, huh?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Even though it's so common, most people still don't get it. Sometimes kids with epilepsy are bullied, especially in schools.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago in middle school, those popular girls made fun of you.
Yep, until you called them out on it.
Yeah, I did.
One of your more brilliant moments. And also, the school finally cracked down on bullying. It's just not cool. So another thing to do is educate your friends so kids with epilepsy aren't teased or excluded.
That's a really good point. If you can, like with this, or anything, if you can educate other people yourself, like that you'll be around a good bit, that's handy as well. It's just good to let people know, just in case. But man, I wish I lived in their world where their school just went, it's fine. We have saved your life. No bullying. Bullying has been solved. Chances are, for most people, if they're getting bullied, it's hard to stop bullies from being bullies. Bullying erased, exactly. And the solution is not what some people said. I know some people are like, well, bully the bully back. No, that is not going to help. Not in the slightest. I found, for me, it was just standing up for myself and not giving a shit about what they decided they need to say. The teachers were the worst part of it, 'cause it's like, 1 minute, you're meant to be like the one protecting me. What the fuck? But unfortunately, you know, people don't all walks get bullied. Some like people who don't have anything wrong with them, they'll still get bullied. It's kind of random. Aggression and fighting aggression is the way of the beasts. Exactly. I can't remember what the Yoda quote is, but
I'm
that
on board
thing.
with that. So, did I pass the test?
I don't know. Arthie?
I don't know, that's a hard call.
I'd say he gets it for trying, but listen, the coffee's on me. Dude, I'm not so sure you passed, but you did bring some solid entertainment to my day.
Oh, gee. Thanks, I guess?
I'll see you tomorrow for that venti.
Oh, yeah, cool. So, Arthie, now that you're single, wanna go catch a movie?
Jesus Christ. Okay, so so it gets a little silly. I'd say he passed. He knew most of the important stuff. Depends what your passing grade is. It didn't pass with flying colors, but knew it, like, knew enough. But man, as long as you can look past the acting, it's important what they're saying, right? And that's the takeaway.
For more information on epilepsy, the facts, and how you can help, visit epilepsy.com.
Exactly. He was fairly knowledgeable. Oh, trying to impress the epileptic girl, huh? You must be the new kid. I can't remember what the next one is. Okay. Yeah, let's this next one, again, I'll be intertwining my own stuff with it. But it's about the everyday impact, and they got some people with epilepsy talking about it. So
Today
let us
in
see.
the UK, another 8 to 7 people will find out that, like me, they have epilepsy.
And these are going to be the videos that are real tough for me. So we'll see.
So, how did your life change when you got diagnosed?
I was only 17 at the time, so it was quite a big thing when you're going through all your exams and still really trying to find out who you are and what you want to do with your life. It knocks you back a bit, and it is quite scary at the same time because you just don't know what's happening.
Okay, you can see the subtitles okay, right? Because there are even sometimes I'm like, oh, what? I didn't catch what he said. Thank you for the subtitles. So you can see this, hopefully you can see the subtitles okay, yeah? I'll make it bigger if not. Yeah, okay, sick.
Wake up in an ambulance one day and you're like, okay, that's up. But I was still, it was 3 days away from doing a driving lesson, but I'd say it's changed my life. It's kind of like, made me realise that some people can be negative towards it. First time I had the seizure, the police came on the bus and on, they're all like, they were questioning my friends, being like, is he definitely not taking?
Yeah. This is a question I've had more times than I'd like to say. That they taken any drugs? Well, yes, but no. I've taken the drugs that keep me alive. And they're strong as fuck, so I know they dilute my eyes and stuff, but it's not what you think it is. I understand, from a police way, I completely understand why they'd ask. You gotta make sure you have all your information. When it's just random people and shit, it's like, alright, can you fuck off? But at the same time, kind of understand. But let's
Taking any
carry
drugs
on.
and all this, and I was like, nope. So how's it affected you in your life?
So I got diagnosed when I was younger.
Mhm.
I got diagnosed when I was 13.
Yeah.
So it didn't massively affect
Yeah.
me. And then I started getting tonic-clonics when I was like 20, and I get them because sun, like through trees, like the sun might.
That's how much, like, when it comes to light affecting people, it's not just strobes. Like, that's how much it can affect someone. Just the sunlight coming through trees. That's like fucking terrifying. That's why I consider myself lucky that I'm not affected by lights. Because that, like, the idea that going outside could set off a seizure is pretty horrifying. I hope both these people and anybody in these videos are doing okay, because holy shit.
Light flickers, and that gives me tonic-clonic seizures. But I didn't know that, so I used to have them when I was like on a run or on a walk, but I'd be by myself. So like the first one I had, I called my sister, and I was like, "You'll never guess what, I've just walked into the woods." And she was like, "You definitely haven't, like it's 3 o'clock." So it started to affect me a lot more then, because I was a bit more scared of like doing things by myself. When I first got diagnosed, my hair started falling out and I put on like loads of weight. I would not recommend that as a 13-year-old girl. But then it's been 10 years, so my side effects are fine, apart from the memory.
There's the tough one. Memory gets hit pretty bad. And that's the one a lot of people don't understand, like, relationship wise, don't understand. And that, because, you know, like, there'll be things and it's like, oh, good excuse. It's like, it's not. I wish I could remember this thing, but it's just not there. And for me personally, and I'm sure for some of these people as well, the toughest one is forgetting the people you love, that you haven't, you know, like, I might know my granddad by name. I couldn't tell you how he looked. And then my other granddad, who we lived with for 4 or 5 years, the only thing I can tell you is he had white hair and had Alzheimer's. Otherwise, there's nothing. Sometimes things will come back. It's random things. And music is a really strange thing. I've talked about this like with my mom and with Penny. But like music, even with like, 'cause my mom used to work in a home with people with like Alzheimer's and stuff, and for some reason, they've forgotten everything. Turns on music, they remember everything about the music. Turns it off, and it's gone. So I don't know what it is about music specifically, but it's something up. Yeah, it can be real tough sometimes, especially during school years. One, for like trying to remember what you've learned, but also at school, even up to uni, loves to do exercises where they're like, okay, remember a memory from when you were small, and explain it or something. And like, and for me, I'm like, oh, okay, panic mode, what can I remember? And it'll be from like 2 years ago or something. And they'll be like, oh, that's only as far as you can go. And like, even teachers again will be like, oh, try harder. There's one like teacher in uni that straight up said that. I grabbed my bags, I said fuck you, and I left. I didn't get along with my teachers in uni, surprisingly enough. They knew I had epilepsy. They didn't bother to learn anything about it. that we even had one person in the first year who had epilepsy, very similar to mine, and they were still having seizures. They didn't have, like, it was few and far between, but teachers didn't bother to look into it at all. Ignorance is not kind. I know that like some people say, ignorance is kind. It is not. In general, it can hurt a lot of people. So let's carry it on.
I have tonic-clonic seizures. I have them more frequently, but I do also have partial seizures where just my right side of the body is shaking. I don't get any warnings, but sometimes I do have a taste in my mouth, but it's almost like my brain can't process to get myself to safety. So by the time I've processed what's going to happen, it's too late, and then it almost just takes over, and then I just black out. And then I don't remember anything after that. I was 14 years old. I remember this day like it was yesterday. I was getting ready to go to school, and then I just fell and just dropped. And then because I kept having them afterwards as well, then they had to investigate it. What about?
I have tonic-clonic seizures. But Lucy also suffers from absent seizures, and that's when it all started.
Okay.
She would have absent seizures on a regular basis, where she'd be completely blank. It was as if her body was being taken over by someone, and she was talking gibberish as well. The more frequent she had the absent seizures, she then started having a tonic-clonic seizure, which was massive. I got it when I was 14, but it was kind of a relief because then we finally knew what it was, so we could try and sort stuff out. It was a bit stressful because we had to like adjust to what it's going to be like living with epilepsy.
Yeah. And what about you, Mum? How was that?
Frightening, because when Lucy was having the absent seizures, we eventually got referred to the neurologist, and they were, right, okay, so let's do all these tests, ECG, EEGs, MRI scans, because we're going to eliminate that it's not epilepsy. And then we got that phone call saying, yeah, she's got epilepsy. And we're like, no, you said this was to eliminate it, not to confirm it. And it was just a big shock. Big shock because we didn't really know anything about epilepsy. And, well, it was just a shock to the system, wasn't it?
We got loads of information, booklets from Epilepsy Action, helping us to kind of get used to how to live with epilepsy and what I can do and what I can't do.
Yeah.
They don't say the ages of the people on here, but I have a feeling that the girl there, the black girl, is probably around the same age as me, just by look. Seems that they hold themselves as a little older. And it's still like, when they were diagnosed, probably similar to me, where while it's still, people know more now and they can look up better now, there wasn't really much internet back then either, so finding out information now was great. You can find information everywhere. Wasn't so easy then. So it was still seen as like, ooh, this alien thing, gotta watch out. While it still has a little bit of that stigma, it is reduced a good bit, which is nice to see. It's very nice to see. But it was definitely harder back in the day when there wasn't an awful lot of information readily available at all times. There were places you could go to get specific stuff. Per se, like it wasn't easy to just be like, oh, if someone wanted to know about it, I couldn't just say, oh, look it up on the internet. There's some videos or anything. But by certain points they could, but even then, very limited. And we had other problems, school. So I am glad that if someone's is diagnosed with it now, they'll have an easier time of it, information wise. It is very comforting to think that way. Yeah, I'm just glad things are more readily available now.
I was first diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 10. So it started as absence epilepsy, and then it kind of leveled out and was under control. And then when I got to 16 and started my GCSEs, then it developed into tonic-clonic seizures. So at that point, it developed into I think a more serious level. I've been probably about 2 years now seizure-free. So
Wow.
I've managed to kind of find a way to balance my life so epilepsy isn't so much of an issue. And how about yourself?
I have two boys, twin boys, who both have severe epilepsy. They have tonic-clonic absences, they have the focal seizures, and they also have drop seizures as well. And it really, really affects them. So hearing your point of view as well, somebody who has epilepsy, how good control you've had is really, really good. And I think we're kind of the other end of the spectrum to you with our boys, but it's really nice to be able to see how living with epilepsy, you can still carry on life.
So these are handy things too, and part of the reason why I'm like, man, I'd like there to be an epileptic tag on Twitch is for people who are even just family members of someone who's got it. Being able to see that people further on in life, maybe than some, like a young child, is still doing okay. I know it would have been a great comfort to my parents. Sorry. It would just be nice to for that comfort to be around easier. I'm okay. I'm keeping myself just making sure I breathe. Yeah. So talking about it from my side, thank you very much. That's easy. I can talk about it from my side easy. It's from like it's from like the parents' side and stuff. I don't know, it must have been really difficult on them too. It changed the way they had to basically the way they had to live. You don't have to cry, it's okay. And I know there's plenty of people out there who are parents or siblings of people with epilepsy who are probably terrified, frankly, even if they don't show it to others. It changes the life of the people immediately around you, including like not just yourself. So it's a little painful to think of that. But let's Let's carry on the video. Give me a moment to collect myself too.
As long as you've got better control. You try to give them the best way of life possible, and as a parent, I think you feel that the epilepsy still controls what we do as a family, and that's the hardest part.
Yeah, exactly.
If ever there was a miracle cure,
That's why
I
that.
would be saying we need it for epilepsy. Without
Excuse. That's why it like. I feel it so much because that cat mean. Fuck. So that cat means an awful lot. So let's carry it on.
without doubt. And I still think in today's society, people don't understand the severity of epilepsy and how life-threatening the condition actually is. Epilepsy is just so unpredictable. Just when you feel you're going through a good stage in somebody's life who has epilepsy, you plan something and then suddenly just like that, it can strike. So
God, it's like I know I'm pausing now. Like, oh, thank you very much. That's another thing that I kind of forget about until like since it's been 11 years no seizures. I haven't had to like cancel plans because of the epilepsy for a long time. But there were periods where it was like you plan something like, cool, I'm looking forward to this. And then it's like, oh, guess I'm canceling this one, huh? Cool. It's weird. It's like not having that control over your life. Once you get control over it, it feels fucking incredible. See, like I said, when I'm talking about my own things, I'm like, I'm in Zen. But like, it's like as a kind of strange example, like, so I'm a balding male. I have the male pattern baldness, and there've been plenty of people through my life who are like, oh, not family really, but other people are like, oh, you should. Why do you want to cut your hair down? You should keep it. And it's like it'll be long, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get it cut now. Oh, why? It looks so nice when it's long. And I'm like, well, one, I don't like it long. But also I like that I have control over my hair. So I appreciate that you like it, but I'm gonna do my thing. So you're just gonna have to put up with it.
Levi and Lucas, who are 13 identical twin boys, they don't get that aura. So there's no warning that they're going to have a seizure. It's just too quick all the time. So I could be sat next to either one of them and they could just drop straight to the floor. And my natural instincts are always not quick enough. And as a parent, that's how I always feel like I'm failing as well.
I've never seen myself have a seizure, and so I don't understand how scary it is to onlookers. And I would always get so frustrated when I come around from a seizure and people would be panicking over me and putting me in a recovery position and calling an ambulance. And I'd just be like, leave me alone, I'm fine. But my husband explained to me, you just can't understand what a scary thing it is. People never see it, and suddenly there's all these like movements going on. You're breathing, you're going blue, you're going, and I just come around and feel tired. You know, I don't see that side of it, so I can't imagine what it must be like when it's your boys and you're so helpless to it.
Oh, it's right at the end. Okay.
Epilepsy actually wants to be there.
Every step of the way. For people affected by the condition.
But to do that, we need your support.
Please donate today
and help make that happen.
Click the donate button now.
You don't have to donate, but donating to like direct medical help and stuff is also very handy. But they're saying about the thing, the woman there saying about how her husband saying you can't understand from our view how horrifying it is. especially if it's someone you care about. And then you see something happen, you're like, oh fuck, here it is, right in front of me. Like, even if you know what to do, like, I've mentioned a few times when I had the one in the cafe, while it wasn't, falling on the floor and shaking, my leg was bouncing, my hand was, it like twitches in and out like it's trying to grab something that's not there, and my eyes were twitching, and for me, I was like, I came back around, I was like, whoa, that was weird. Oh well, carry on. And my mom had seen a good few seizures, so she still found it kind of horrible, but she had preparations. I think that was the first one my sister had properly seen. Like, she had seen the small absences without shakes, but she saw the shake. Whew. Just give me a sec here. And then when I was told how like scary she had found it, thank you, from her side. Like, I hadn't really considered it at that point, because my parents were pretty good at if it was affecting them, they were pretty good at holding it back and not making it clear. And like, when I found out from because my mom's the one who told me how my sister was pretty scared about it. And my sister didn't treat me different after then. She still treated me like me, so appreciate that. But for a month or so after, she had said to my mom, like, she didn't want to feel this way, but she was like worried to go, to see it happen again, because it was so horrible to see. Oh, hello. Oh, thank you very much. You guys are doing an incredible job as well, and anybody who's also sharing the stuff, so I appreciate that very much. Thank you. So yeah, my sister, it took her a while to get used to. Oh, thank you very much. It took her a while to get back round to properly being comfortable and not being, because I didn't really have that bad a seizure again for a bit. No, it's okay. It's okay. The heavy parts are just as important as the easy parts, right? But after that time, without there being as big a one, she was able to it was able to come back to normal, and she was there's always still the worry there that I'll have another seizure, for all my family, and myself, but it was no longer the first thing in her head. Her mind had finally let her put it aside, but that really hit how hard it is for those on the outside looking in, So I'm sure for her as well. Her husband saying that. Oh. I forgot about my fucking my host sound. Thank you very much. That took me by surprise. I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much for the host there. We're coming around. What's it? Almost to hour 3 now. But we're just going through, showing some videos, pausing in between, and having some talks in between. So here's just like again some information from other people who also have epilepsy of what you can do to help, or like what things to know that maybe people don't think about. I'll try and keep it together on this one.
I think there's like a massive misconception that epilepsy is like you see a flashing light and you fall to the floor and have a seizure. Yeah. That's why people don't get jobs, or people get treated differently.
That's another thing I didn't think about until they said it then. I've had a few times where I've gone for an interview for a job. It's been going seemingly fine. And then, I let each job know I'm epileptic. It's under control, but I have to let you know just in case. You can sort of feel a change in the room or over the phone, depending on how they do it. You can feel like a change, and it turning from them saying, oh, this job does this and this, do you think you can handle it? To, are you okay? Will we need to hold you up? Will we need to put more resources into you than we want to? Yeah. Yeah, I understand, but that it's really frustrating at the same time, because it's like, especially if I'm like, oh yeah, it's under control, and I take stuff for it, they're still like, whoa, what if it affects us though? And it's like, well, I don't know, deal with it or something. But again, it's the lack of knowledge about it. I think when they hear me say, oh, by the way, I'm epileptic, they think, oh, he'll be walking around in the shop or something, will fall to the floor, shake and scare people. And you don't want to scare people. Ooh. Even though mine aren't like that at all. Most people, if I had a seizure, wouldn't even notice I was having one. So it's I don't think I've ever been asked in an interview more about, like, once I've said epileptic, I don't think they've ever said, well, what does that like mean, or what would that change? If someone said that in an interview, I think I'd just go for, I'd be like, just, if this job's available, gimme. I'd be more inclined to go for it. Because it shows like interest and care, and it, like, I don't know, for a while, like, it became this fear to even apply for a job, because it was like, oh, they're gonna see who I am and they're gonna say, nope, can't deal with that shit. So I don't know. It's part of the struggle, man. It's a part that's not fun, but you learn to deal with as it comes, I guess. But here we go.
I jerk sometimes. That's it. Some people get like a numbness in their hand, and that's their seizure.
Yeah, because I just tried to hide it away. I was like,
yeah,
pretend it wasn't there.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh,
but
thank you,
if people
Kira.
knew more it wouldn't be hard to get jobs, and you wouldn't be treated differently,
Yeah.
and like school would be easier and things.
The misconception of why you're having a seizure, like the first time, like even multiple times it's been suggested I've been on drugs when I've had a seizure, when it's just not true. When I was in college, they sent all the tutors away on a
Okay, that one
on
is
an
one.
epilepsy course, which I found quite funny. But
Okay. Oh, I'm just gonna skip back a bit. Like that shit, that right there is what I wish had happened at any point with tutors, teachers, or anything. Like if they just, even for a second, tried to educate and didn't just go, "Well, that's your problem. Don't bring it to us." That's how it felt, at least, them saying that that's your problem. Even if that's not how they thought, that's how it came across. And if they had done something like that, that would have meant the world to me. I've had some friends do stuff like that, or at least educate themselves, and those are the people I hold like super close. Or even if I'm talking about it and they ask a question or something, like wanting to know about it, there's not many feelings like it. It's something else. I don't know how to put it.
funny, but
yeah,
it's good, like, because it helps them understand. Because none of them knew anything about it. How they help, they all thought to stick fingers in your mouth and credit cards and all that. And I'm like, no, that's not what you do.
Yeah,
They all
so
help me
like
down. All.
I give presentations
You do,
on what
yeah.
you did, like how people should deal with epilepsy and things.
Yeah.
And every time people are like, I didn't know that there were more than one type of seizure, or
Yeah.
like I thought you were supposed to put something in someone's
Yeah.
mouth, which is like one of the most dangerous things you
Exactly,
can
yeah.
do.
I
Just
know.
it's what we think epilepsy is so wrong.
Yeah.
It's actually dangerous.
I mean that right there. It says she goes around, does presentations, and unfortunately every time, so like before the stream, yeah. But I mean that's the benefit of these sort of things, right? If you have someone talk about it, and I try and talk about it in a simple way, because that's the way I think. I know I'd be able, like, in a way that I try and speak in it in a way that I'd understand it, and hopefully that translates. But man, like, it is something. How to find people who can accept some things about another. It's easy for people to push aside if it's not my. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not going to say I'm some perfect being who at no point has thought that about something. But anytime I have, I've then been like, what? That's the way I hate people feeling about me. Why would I even think that? But, I think it's part of the brain saying, well, I need to protect myself from this bad thing. Even though it'd be much better to help with the bad thing. It was mostly when I was younger. As you get older, it's much easier to say to that little voice, no thanks, I'm gonna stick around. Like, it might be their problem, but it doesn't mean I can't, show that that someone cares. But
I know,
yes.
yeah, that's quite dangerous because I've been held down loads of times.
You might not know someone's got epilepsy, it's a hidden disability, no one knows. You can't tell by your appearance and how you act, so if you tell someone you've got epilepsy, then you can help them understand it, which then they can help you back.
I always get that, well, you don't look like you have anything wrong with you, you don't look like you have seizures, so it's kind of like you have to just...
That's another one. You don't look like it. Well, thank you, I guess. And I went to walk around, with epileptic written on my forehead, so it goes, oh, That's me. I'll just shake every time I see someone. Like, it's the same with like depression, anxiety. It's like, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. What would it even look like? Exactly. Like, do people think there's a constant shake in the hand? It's like, oh, hello. They're like, oh, yeah, that's an epileptic right there. And anyone who's got like a disability that is hidden, I feel you. I completely understand the annoyance that comes with it. It's like, okay, I know I can't show. I don't know how I would, but I'll tell you so you know.
Close these things.
At school, Lucy at the time was, when she was diagnosed, was the only person in the school with epilepsy. And when Lucy had an absence at school, nobody knew. She was just wandering around aimlessly. Nobody knew that she was having an absence.
It
and
was only my friends that realised, and they brought me to someone and they said, right, we're just going to have to send you home because we don't know what we're doing.
More people need to
I think that's a sad one as well, rather than being able to say, oh, maybe we should ask a call for a doctor. Maybe we should call your parents and ask them if there's anything wrong, or if they just want to come pick you up. Ask, instead of ask questions, just saying, well, we don't know what to do, so you go home. Like that's it's so incredibly irresponsible that it's almost unbelievable that like a student body, not student, like that staff at a school would just say, yeah, we don't know what to do. Oh well. Like, you're meant to be part of your part of being in that position is to be able to make your students feel like they're safe. Like, there were days where, like, for certain teachers that were really bad about me being epileptic, it was like, I don't want to come to your lessons. I don't want to be here, which then made it like harder to learn, because the whole time I'm just thinking to myself, I don't want to be in the same room as you. Like, I don't like, if something happens to me, what are you like? Are you gonna tell me that it's my fault? Like, what am I supposed to do in here? But there've also, like, I'll say, there have also been teachers where I'm like, this is where I'm comfortable. Like, I feel safe here. And that is like, that's a huge thing. I think for anybody who has anything where they're like, oh, okay, here I feel safe. It makes such a difference if you're made to feel like somewhere will protect you or keep you safe.
know how to deal with
it,
epilepsy and understand it better. Definitely. When Lucy had her first tonic-clonic seizure, we didn't have a clue what to do. She just dropped to the floor. We'd just had a family meal at home. Did not have a clue.
Yeah.
It was 20 minutes long, was that first seizure.
Oh my gosh.
It was just frightening.
I know my family was definitely very shocked. We've never heard of epilepsy. We've never had any history of it. They were very, very shocked and very frightened, because what do you do when you see a loved one in that position and in that state?
Okay, this would be another heavy one. But going along the lines of something like that, like, I can't remember who it was who said it. It was someone in my family when they were trying to describe what it was like, what it's like when I have seizure. And now, if they had said it to me at this age, I'm like, okay, I understand, thank you. But at the time, it sucked to hear. she said, "Oh, it's like it wasn't even you there. Like someone had taken over. Like you were a different person." And as a kid, that really hurts. You know, if someone says, "Oh, well, there's you. Oh, there's you," but this was like it wasn't even you. It's like, well, technically, it still is. You know, like now, if someone had said, like I said, if someone said that, but oh, okay, I kind of understand what you mean now. That's handy. But at the time, it was like, well, now I like, what part of me is me? It was like a big, what's the word I'm looking for? So it was basically like a bit of an identity crisis, because it's like, well, that's not who I am. If this is that like saying that's not a part of me, then what? Who am I? And you know, when you're going through like it was going through puberty at the time as well, so going through puberty, you're already questioning almost everything. So it was questions that I didn't need to ask myself at the time. And I know the person who said it didn't mean anything bad by it. It was just the way that they were like, okay, this is how it is, like how it looks from our end. So I don't feel any like animosity or anything towards them. Like I understand now. And it helped me understand. Like while it was hard at first to like to hear it, it did help me understand much better than if they had just said, well, I don't know, you just have a seizure or something. So I'm grateful for it, but man, did it suck originally or at first.
When you have children like Levi and Lucas, people can often feel fear towards them, because how would they cope if they had a seizure?
That's all. I know I'm pausing it a lot, but this is the process of spreading awareness, right? So that was another thing, that it didn't really affect me because the information was kept away from me. But for my parents, it was a really tough thing. That someone would be having a party, like a birthday party for their kid that I was friends with, or there was something going on, and my friends were being like, they had been talking to the parents of the friends that I had, and were saying, "Oh, I'd love for them to come." Oh, thank you very much, Magic Cup. I appreciate it. And they like, but then they say to my mom like how they don't know if they want me there, just in case. The kids wouldn't have cared. That's the thing. Like the friends I had, they were my friends, right? So they wouldn't have cared. It's just the parents saying like that they care. Like I don't know if it's that they didn't want, you know, it just made it feel like they were, oh, I don't want my child to even know that they exist that much, right? They can exist at school, but they ain't coming in it. Like there was parents that were fine. Like there was also parents who were fine with it. Don't get me wrong. Like there were plenty of people who would like, okay, whatever. It's just ban. I almost get almost doxed myself there. It's just ban. It's fine. Nothing's really changed about him. This is just part of who he is. But there were also parents, and I'm sure it killed my parents inside. It mostly said to my mom because, you know, she would come pick us up from school and stuff. But I'm sure, like, she must have then said to my dad that it must have killed them to have to think, you know, I'm glad he has friends. I worry what the parents will think. And, no parent should have to think that. Yeah, just, yeah, I'm alright. It's just hard to. Some things are hard to talk about, but they should be talked about. Because these stigmas shouldn't be like, I don't know if I'm sure that they're still around for some people, and to any parents or siblings or people who have to go through people being that stupid. Like, my heart's with them, and I hope there's at least one parent, other than that welcomes their child or brother, sister, with open arms, and doesn't care that they've got some illness that they can't do, that they had no choice getting. You know, if they could choose, they definitely wouldn't have chose to have. Whew. Oh man. It's hard to talk about because these are things you don't really think about on the daily, you know, and then you watch back these things and and they come up and you have to sort of face them dead on. No, I don't have any any tissues around me. Oh yeah, because I spilt water on them. I had everything prepared and then I spilt water all over it. So, you know, I am super grateful for everything my family have done for me. There are plenty of families who, once their child has something, they give up on them. And I'm glad my parents never gave up. I am incredibly lucky to be in the position I am. All things considered. And luckily, later on today, I've got a really nice thing I'm able to do. So I can bring my mood back up. But here we go.
What would they do? You know, and I think that's where a lot of work still needs to be done.
I was so terrified to tell my now husband when we first started dating. I was so scared for him to find out.
Were you scared in case he would prejudge?
Yeah. Is he going to dump me if he finds out? Is he going to be like...
That's still a stigma to epilepsy, isn't there?
But he just took it like so in his stride, and now he manages me as well, and I think that's quite good because if I'm in denial about a situation, he says, have you done this tonight? Have you taken that, you know? Have you made sure you've taken your pills? Sometimes you can feel very much on your own with epilepsy, and it's not the case. You know, you've got a support system there to look after you, and you just need to
It's just
use it.
about educating people, isn't it? A lot of people need educating about epilepsy, and the more we talk about it, and the more we show the different sides to epilepsy, the better that will be for everybody in the long run.
Epilepsy Action wants to be there.
Was that there? But that's like a really important thing that you said there as well. Just You know, as we've said during many bits of this, giving people the knowledge for these things is paramount above so many things. If people have the knowledge of it, they can apply it to so many other things as well, and it would save a lot of people a lot of heartbreak, and that can be one of the hardest parts of it. But let's get to the next one. This one's about what things people have lost.
Anything. I feel as though I still am losing stuff, and I've lost so many opportunities. University, I felt like that was taken from me. I felt like I was almost robbed of that. I'm never at a job for over 8 months, and I feel like I get robbed of that as well. And I just want to be independent.
Got a twin sister and she doesn't have epilepsy, which I'm seeing her going out with her friends and being more independent when I can't go anywhere on my own. If I want to go out, I still haven't got that independence, and I've either got to go with my parents or I've got to go with my sister, which she doesn't like.
Yeah, and it's hard watching it as well when you can see everything you could be doing, but you can't do it.
What have you lost then?
The main struggle for me is mine is mainly stress induced, and you can't control stress. I can't drive.
Yeah.
I don't have that convenience. I have to rely on other people, and you want to lead a really independent life.
I always feel with our two boys that not so much myself and my husband feel we miss out. It's always Levi and Lucas miss out. They are at risk of sudden death and epilepsy, both boys.
Damn.
When they've had a status epilepticus stage where they've had to be ventilated on life support, they then have to learn to do the skills they had before. So simple tasks like being able to walk independently, hold a spoon independently, and every time they are having seizures, you feel like you're failing. But that's why we need to advocate and get them the best possible care they can.
What do you think you've lost because of epilepsy?
Probably the main thing is memory. Because say I'm in work and I'm helping the customer ask me a question, and then I have to go off and look for whatever they want. I come back and I can't remember what they look like or what they asked for. I think it's my medication that does it mainly.
Yeah.
So how do you think it's affected your life?
I'm a lot less confident in some things because my seizures, some of them, are because of light through trees.
Yeah.
Walking home by myself that I used to not think about so much, now can be quite scary. I have had times where I've been so scared I was going to have a seizure that I've lay down on the side of the road, on the pavement, because I just thought either I'm going to have a tonic-clonic seizure and fall into the road, or I'm going to fall on the pavement. So just lay there hoping.
I guess going from that as well. Well, I don't have the tonic-clonic, so I wouldn't fall to the floor. For me, because it's it's that absence. So, my worry was always what if I'm crossing the road and I just stop and something happens? So the worry for me has never been, or I'm sure it was as a kid about myself. But it's more so as I got older about, or what if someone else gets hurt, or how would it, if someone, because of it, worst case scenario, hit me with their car, how much would it, affect them? Because, it's not on them, and it's not on me. It would be, completely pot luck, or unluck, I guess. But as I got further, as I got further in life, you just had to tell yourself there's no use worrying about it, because chances are it won't happen. Chances are you'll be fine. So I try, in general, I try and think, especially now, I try and think more positively on things. Try and think, well, okay, rather than saying, oh, I can't, I try and think, well, how can I work around it? If I'm going out, I don't even think about the epilepsy anymore. If I'm just going out somewhere, I don't think when I'm crossing the road, oh, I could stop here. It's just, so that fear is, it's not gone, but it's lessened an awful lot.
It helps when you've got a good support around you, and I think that's one of the main things that I've gained from since I was diagnosed. Like, it's kind of shown me who's there for me.
I've had the same best pals since I was about 3, but the confidence I have in them, or like the trust I have in them, I don't think I'd have developed as much.
No,
so yeah, I've definitely found that. I rely on my friends, but we're a lot closer because of it.
I think one of the biggest changes for me is my career. I started painting in my spare time, and I just happened to do this one painting of a cow, and one thing led to another, and now this has kicked off my business, which is now I paint cows full time. Everything happens for a reason, and if I didn't have my epilepsy, my brain wouldn't be the same brain. Like, I wouldn't have my creative skill. And has it changed your relationship with your...
I think that's a really important one, saying without the epilepsy, they wouldn't be who they are. And that's the way I try and see it as well. Like I said at the start, it is just as much me at this point as walking, talking. But I just put them down. I know. Cow painting ladies are fucking... I love that. That's so good. That's part of the reason I started streaming. Because I was just sort of doing nothing, feeling sorry for myself, not getting anywhere but job. And then I said to myself, well, I like that. Like, I'd seen the VTube and stuff, and I said, well, I can do that. I think I can do that. And it's helped an awful lot. So I like entertaining. So it hits that fix. But it's mostly just knowing that I'm able to do something without someone without a boss to go, whoa. The independence, I suppose, like being able to achieve things that I set for myself is super cool.
Your partner, do you think? Have you grown closer?
I think me and Michael, we've become a very strong unit now, because we have to fight together, and we need each other, because we need to be together to be able to support Levi and Lucas when they need that intervention, medical intervention.
I think a positive is that now I'm more confident and more outspoken, and I can speak for myself a little bit better than I could do before.
I've done my Baden Powell Award. I've also done my Bronze Duke of Edinburgh because there's been people there that has allowed me to do that. So I can still do things. It's just more of a challenge.
Yeah, and finding somebody who's willing to help you and do it with you.
Get that support.
Yeah.
Oh, that one ended abruptly. Okay. So this one's focusing on the memory part. I'm just gonna be quiet for this one because it's probably gonna. It's a hard one for me to watch, but it's good to spread the awareness of it.
Yeah, so the problems that I have with my memory, they do affect most aspects of my life. I have a calendar on my phone with alarms, so lots of little things I just won't even bother to remember myself. To be honest, like, it's almost like an extension of me, because like part of my memories are just on that phone. I hope I never lose it. In terms of studying, I just have to do more studying because sort of really need to drill in the stuff that I have to learn, because I do forget a lot of it. Just try to put more effort into remembering things. There are methods to improve your memory. You can research methods actually, and if you put the effort in, they will stick. So when you've had a seizure and you're feeling fairly blank, instinctively you can remember some things. It does take time though, so you've got to be quite sort of determined, and don't be too hard on yourself if it takes a while to come, because you're fighting against quite, strong effects really. So it's almost like you're fighting against your brain. But you've got to say to yourself you're going to win.
Ow. There you go, that's that one hits super close. I have my calendar, my notes that I keep. I've tried a few different things to try and improve memory. Some work better than others. But I find keeping notes of things and stuff is one of the best ways. So you can just look back at it and see it there. And it got, like, pictures are really good for it. You got full on visual. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it says a lot of illnesses and excuse me, and things can affect people's memories. And one thing I tell people is keeping notes of it, taking pictures of things that you particularly like. It can help. It's not just, it's not a miracle thing. It won't change everything, but it helps, and even a little bit of help can go a long way. But yeah, a calendar with stuff in. Mine's mostly on like notes. But yeah, I have similar. And then here's the last video, and I really like this one. So
those moments are the most dangerous. It's probably best for you to be around your loved ones, because if you're not,
is it so?
I don't know where I would have been without my loved ones really during those moments. I remember the first ever day it happened. I was playing outside with a group of friends of mine, and I remember that day. It was such a weird day because everything seemed so normal, and all of a sudden I just started feeling unwell. And I remember just saying to all my friends at the time, like, I feel really unwell, and they were like, "What's the matter?" But I couldn't describe it. But at the time, my eyes were just, I could see stars. I was struggling to breathe. And at the time, my friends thought maybe that I was pulling a sickie, or I was just making up an excuse. They were like, "Come on, what's wrong with you?" And I just remember passing out at that moment. And I remember waking up, and I just had like oxygen mask on my face, and being stretchered away into the ambulance van. And yeah, that was the first ever time I had a seizure. And I remember arriving at the hospital, and obviously my mum and everyone in my family were so worried, asking what's the problem, why is this happening. And at first they didn't really know what it was, and it happened a few times, and eventually I saw a specialist, and the specialist at that point said to me that I had epilepsy and gave us different options, and they recommended that I go and take medication. I'd say that the main thing with epilepsy is you always have anxiety when you leave your house, so you just feel like you don't want to be a burden to anybody, or you don't want something to happen to you and someone not being able to help, or maybe you might get into a situation where you might be alone. So that's always playing on your mind. And just mentally, you're always just worried for yourself, your loved ones, and physically as well. Like, let's say you have a seizure, people don't realize physically the strain it puts on your body. It really, it's really painful. Like, sometimes you have like really bad cuts on your tongue, for example. Because I have tonic-clonic seizures, your muscles really tense up. So it's almost like, best way to describe it, it's like doing a really, really intense gym session and like all your body's really, really sore. But it's a lot worse than that, but yeah. And not only that, but for myself, people with tonic-clonic seizures, usually you have your pre-seizure, so that's when you're having your symptoms and whatnot. Then you have the actual seizure. Then you have your post-seizure, and the post-seizure is normally you wake up, but you're not conscious. And it's weird, even though you might be looking, you're breathing, etc., you're not yourself, you're not your conscious self. And it's strange because even though your loved ones might know sometimes the things to do, sometimes when you're caught up in the heat of the moment of trying to look out for the person, forget the basics, you're just trying to hold them or whatever. Like, I normally wake up and you're very panicky and you see somebody you don't know in front of you, like holding you. That really, it's really scary, and obviously people don't know that. So I start lashing out. I've been told that I've been pretty aggressive. So not only am I lashing out, but I don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. So
Just over there as well for a sec. I had a very similar thing with mine. A lot of it came out. Well, I mean, there were other things as well, but a lot of it came out through aggression afterwards. If there were people that I didn't know around and people staring, it wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, I'm about to punch everyone in this room. Be be very negative to people. So I just, was confused. Also, like, it's this, like I said earlier, the staring makes you feel like, I guess it's like those quotation circus shows where they're like, oh, here's the man with 7 legs, here's the epileptic, and here's the so it feels like you're being like stared at from like in this other like section. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. A freak show. Feels like you're in a freak show and you're being watched behind the glass. And like I said, but like small children, they're still trying to learn about the world, so they'll stare, they'll point at things that they don't understand because that's how they know to like show that's what they're trying to understand. They'll point, and while you try and like, process that and say to yourself rationally, they're a child, they don't know better. Okay, yeah, it's okay. Then you understand the feeling. Okay, yeah, it's strange because you try and rationalize it, and you're like, okay, I know they're a child. This is not on them. And even sometimes their parents be trying to like push down their arm, like don't point. But it doesn't change how like the pain from it. You can try it, you can try and ignore it, and at points I got fairly good at ignoring it to a degree. But if I had like a particularly bad one, like my hand was going on my leg, then you'd have even more adults staring, and that's when it's hard to ignore when it's adults staring. Because you think to yourself, what, they should know better. Like, you don't have to look at me. Just acknowledge that I'm there, and that's all you need, okay? So it can, like, if I wasn't around, like, my mom who knew how to deal with it really well, or just someone who knew how to deal with it really well, it would come out it's like aggression, and it's sometimes not calling people the nicest things. No racism or anything. I'll put that, but you know, like throwing out some Fs, some Jeffs, and some Kefs. But you know, like it's, I don't know, like now that I haven't had one for like 11 years, it's, yeah, the one beauty of it, of having, it sounds stupid, but the one beauty of having something like this is really, like, you can really take in like the beautiful parts of the world, and appreciate the things that you're like, I didn't think about that before. Like, I'm trying to think of a good one. That's like kind of, seems kind of weird. I mean, like, I don't really think about it now, but like, just being able to like sit down and appreciate that you're comfy. Yeah, exactly. Look at the positives. Just feeling comfy in spaces and not having to worry that you'll have this alien thing happen that people don't understand. It's very comforting. But let's carry
Makes
on.
it even
Let
more.
my guy speak.
Makes the whole scenario a lot worse. So if somebody sees you at that state, they might think, oh, maybe he's drunk or he's intoxicated, or you know, and that's something that really really worries me, because I always think to myself, what happens if I leave my house and I have a seizure, and I wake up and someone sees me in that state, and they think, they might mistaken me for a drunkard person or somebody who's been taking drugs, when actually I'm in need of help. Your mental health is definitely compromised, because you just have days where you're just mentally down, especially after the seizure. I can't describe it. It's like, with all the impact it has on your body physically, it just makes you feel so sad, and you're really scared. You don't want to be around anybody. You just want to be around yourself. I feel like, oh, am I gonna die? Like, are these my final days? How long have I got? It's like all these things are playing on your mind, and it can really be hard to just think about anything else. So that's why I just keep myself to myself. And I think those moments are the most dangerous. It's probably best for you to be around your loved ones, because if you're not, I don't know. I don't know where I would have been without my loved ones, really, during those moments. Sometimes you'll find that some people, not everyone, but a lot of people have had bad experiences when it comes to relationships. For example, having seizures before intimacy, stuff like that. Like, I remember a few years ago, this girl once said to me that I'm very lucky to be with her, because a lot of people won't put up with me because of my condition. And I remember at the time we was in the restaurant, and she was like, I was like, I need to take my tablet. She's like, no, hide them away. Don't take them in public. I don't want people to see you with me taking them. So
Yeah. Well, I haven't. Yeah, I just take mine in the morning and then late at night. I had to take them at friends and stuff. But like, I don't think any friends or anything have said, "Whoa, what are you doing that for?" They just sort of go, "Oh, right, yeah." And I've even had some friends that are like, "Oh, do you need to take your stuff?" I'm like, "Oh, damn, I do." But I've definitely had people who are like, they'll say, "Oh no, I'm all good with this. Don't worry, I'm one of the good ones," or whatever. And then when it actually comes round to something that is affected or something, they don't know how to handle it, or they handle it terribly, and it's like, so it becomes hard to take people on their word for things as well. It's just like, do you mean it? um, so that's a weird struggle that comes with it, I guess.
yeah, people have been nasty over the years. Other people, in terms of relationships, they've been okay, I guess. I think that the nicest is someone's been is probably my current missus now. She went out of her way to do a training course just to learn more about epilepsy. So I thought that was really nice. There's so much misconception
Lucky
with
guy.
epilepsy. They think one size fits all. So if someone's seizures are triggered by flashing lights, they think everyone else's seizures are triggered by flashing lights. They think if one person, for example, can't drive, they think everyone else with epilepsy can't drive. It's like, it's just so frustrating. And not only that, I just feel like I said, that the post-seizure, everything that goes on during that period, for myself anyway, I feel like people always, over the years, have picked on me because of that. Like, I've been picked on because I've cried. I've been picked on because I was really emotional. Like, they just think, they look at you and they think that because you look a certain way, you shouldn't be behaving a certain way.
Yeah, I definitely had similar with that sort of stuff, but the way it came out in me, I mean, there's already the stigma. It's like, oh, guys can't cry. That's some pussy shit. But instead, it was also, I didn't want to, hide how much it's hurting, because I don't want people to. You don't want people to pick on you. Don't give them a reason to pick on you. So later on in life, when once I sort of said to myself, "Well, that's stupid. Why am I thinking that way?" It was hard making that change to letting my emotions come out and being okay with it. Like, clearly I'm perfectly fine with it now. But it was really difficult at first trying to change that around. I was fine showing that I was happy about things, but it's like, oh man, if something hurt, like before it would just be like, maybe I'd shout at someone or something, but wouldn't actually show how much it's hurting. Which isn't the best way to go around it. But eventually learn, best ways to let myself go and just let this guy carry on.
Which is sad, really. First thing I'd say is obviously speak to a specialist. Speak to a specialist, most importantly. Speak to your GP. Get around medical professionals. They'll be able to tell you whether you have or not. Then after that, I'd say try and speak to other people who've got epilepsy as well, because I feel like when you initially have epilepsy or find out you do have epilepsy, I feel like you feel like you're the only person who has it, or you're the only person that's going through it. And obviously back then, social media and stuff like that wasn't really present, but not like now. So there's so much like forums and so much people you can meet online just to talk with. So I think that's really good as well. And going on, just doing research yourself online, but credible sites, obviously, like NHS, for example, and just get an idea of what epilepsy is, because I think that helps as well. And yeah, I'll just say, make the most of life, I'd say epilepsy has taught me that, first of all, life is short. Life's precious. It's definitely a gift, and I just feel like we should make the most of it, because tomorrow's not promised.
There we go. Now just to sort of now be me wrapping this up. So wait, which ones is it? I need to. Okay, that one and that one. And that's this one around. Whoop. Okay, and then you know what? We can make this a bit bigger too. Let you guys be seen. Nice. Enlarge. So I'll say the. Oh wait, click on this as well. One thing that really helped me come to terms with not specifically even like the epilepsy. Oh, I'm dumb. Not in particularly the epilepsy. It's more so the just having an illness. Like it helped me come to terms with how I wanted to deal with that. Was this little game called Karawa Shujo, which was a a dating sim, but with people with like disabilities. And I thought, oh, this would be stupid, but sure, I'll give it a go. And I'm really glad I did, actually, because it completely changed the way that I looked at having an illness. And I don't know, it made me feel. Should play it on stream. I'll have to check if it's able to. But maybe I could do that. Yeah. But it's. I'm trying to think how to put it. It made me feel like it was okay to have something quotations wrong with me. It was fine to, be different, and accept that, it was not the be-all end-all of my life to have something wrong. It helped. I say, yeah, it helped more than I expected. I hoped for it to, I thought, oh, maybe, doubtful, and then it did. I was like, oh damn. I guess this works, huh? I don't know, it's things in life can make things feel so much easier that you don't expect to, but it's nice to have that feeling. Just searching up thing here. So if I can, then I'll play it. We shall see. I don't want to jump on it too much, and then be like, oh, whoops. Music sound real ominous. It was Skyrim 1, so you were waiting for the enemy to start attacking or something. How long was it? Oh wow, about 4 hours long on this one. Damn, it is calming. It's helping bring it back down to a nice level. Let's see. That bit almost sounded like it was going to go to Lord of the Rings then. Okay. Let's see. We went for quite a while. Yeah, I thought before I started, I was like, oh, maybe I won't even be able to squeak out like 2 hours. But no, I went a little longer than 2 hours, huh? So let's Let's see where we can take this today. I'm glad I did it, you know. The last time I did one of these, it went well. So I was really hoping this one would too. And it did. So, yeah, of all the streams I do, ones like this mean the most, and having people like appear and speak, or not even just being here, like it means more to me than I can even put into words. I don't know. It's something. Let's see. Have we got? Okay. So, I've never seen anything from this person before. But I searched up Epileptic. And this is one that came up since they're doing a nice charity event for it. So they're doing a 12-hour one as well, so it'll be nice to give them some support since it's an epilepsy one. So let's go over there. The Epileptic Gamer, and they're a VTuber, so it makes it even better. So thank you very much for coming. I guess I'll see you soon, and I look forward to this weekend. So, cheery bye. Have a great night, guys.